Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the post-lunch session of Ancient India. Am I visible and audible? Yes. Okay. Great. Visible and audible. Nirarani. Only visible. Okay. Now I began with the Stone Age. I gave you an overview of the history of ancient India. Then I began with the Stone Age. We have discussed Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic ages. We'll come to the Chalcolithic age now. So we will discuss in detail everything about Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic. Let's come to the Chalcolithic age. Can I start? Can I continue? All of you? Okay. So here we have the so-called Chalcolithic age. Now, what is this Chalcolithic age? Chalcolithic age, Chalcolithic. Chalcolithic age, also called E-Neolithic period. E-Neolithic period. Now, please understand, this is the age when man began to use copper along with stone. So copper becomes the first metal to be used by man. Okay, so Chalcolithic age, nothing but stone copper age, copper being the first metal to be used by man. And it is also called E-Neolithic period. Now you need to understand how was man's life during the Chalcolithic age. So Chalcolithic age, man continued to live in rural areas, on the banks of rivers, near hills, right? On the banks of river near hills. He began to live on the banks of rivers near hills in rural settlements. Um, he made copper tools. So he began to use microliths. He continued to use microliths, very small stone tools, microliths, along with stone and copper tools. Now, two things I wanted to remember regarding the Chalcolithic age. One is man began to paint the pots for the first time during this period. So man began to paint the pots. So painted pottery, paint the pots. He began to paint pots during for the first time during the Chalcolithic period. When did man begin to make handmade pottery? When was handmade pottery done? Hello? Handmade pottery, Mesolithic period, isn't it? Mesolithic age. Good, good, Gia. Then what about wheel turned pottery? When did man make wheel turned pottery? Neolithic age. Very good. So, Gia is absolutely right. Neolithic, Apurva, very good. Himali, Suman. So here, man began to make handmade pottery during the Mesolithic age. Then wheel-turned pottery during the Neolithic age. But during both these periods, he used to never paint the pots. During both these periods, he never used to paint the pots. He began to paint the pots for the first time during the Mesolithic period. This is very interesting. Okay, this is number one. Number two is the dead were buried all over a particular place with the head mostly pointing towards the north. And this is very, very intriguing, fascinating at the same time, and very inexplicable as to why this practice was followed. So, dead were buried all over a particular place with that head mostly pointing towards the north. Look here on your screen. Let's say somebody died. So, a pit was dug up like this, and the dead body was made to lie on its back with the head mostly pointing towards the north. And the pit was covered with mud. The dead body was covered in mud. So this is a very inexplicable phenomena all over a particular place. When excavations were done in the Neolithic sites, wherever Neolithic sites have been found, in India, sorry, wherever chalcolithic sites have been found in India, we find that the dead have been buried all over a particular place with the head mostly pointing towards the north. And this is very, very inexplicable. Why this practice was followed, we don't know. We cannot explain it. And even the Harappans had this practice. Even the Harappans used to bury their dead like this. Wherever burial was a form of disposal of dead body, the dead body was made to lie on its back with the head mostly pointing towards the north. Very rarely towards the east and the south amongst the Harappans, but mostly pointing towards the north. And even now amongst the Hindus, wherever burial is a method of disposal of dead bodies, the head is mostly pointing towards the north. So when the body is buried in a pit, the head is mostly pointing towards the north. So this is a practice from the Chalcolithic period onwards. Did you understand? All of you? So the dead were buried all over a particular place with the head mostly pointing towards the north. This is a very inexplicable phenomena. Right? So this is another unique aspect about Chalcolithic period. The paint, they used to paint, they began to paint the pots, and the dead were buried all over a particular place with the head mostly pointing towards the north. Head pointing towards the north. Are you there with me? All of you? Clear? And we have found some cultures. We have found some Chalcolithic cultures in various parts of the country. So let us understand this. You can see here, it is also called Neolithic period, the Chalcolithic period. So man began to use metals, among which copper was the first. So we have Chalcolithic cultures found mostly in the Chota Nagpur plateau up to the upper Gangetic basin, Chota Nagpur plateau in Madhya Pradesh region, MP, up to the upper Gangetic basin. So people were living on banks of rivers in rural settlements near hills. They used microliths, other small stone tools and copper tools. They were the first to paint potteries. So they used painted pottery, and the dead were buried in a particular direction, mostly the north, the head mostly pointing towards the north, all over a particular place. Inexplicable means we cannot explain. We don't know the reason as to why such a practice was followed. Hari Om. Hari Om. Did you understand? Hari Om. So we don't know why the head was placed pointing towards the north. Okay. So we also know that the Chalcolithic people did not practice cultivation. How do we know that they did not practice cultivation? They probably had a hunting and a fishing economy. They probably had a hunting and a fishing economy. Now, in hardly we have found plow or hoe in any of the Chalcolithic sites. We have not found plow or a hoe. Hoe is a digging stick. What's a hoe? Hoe is a digging stick. Neither have we found a plow or a digging stick or a hoe in any of the Chalcolithic sites, which suggests that the Chalcolithic people did not practice agriculture. They probably had a hunting and a fishing economy. And in South India, the Neolithic phase smoothly, imperceptibly means smoothly merged into the Chalcolithic phase. That's why it's called Neolithic Chalcolithic. Right. Are you clear with me, all of you? Okay. Now look at the pictures on your screen. These are all the Chalcolithic tools, stone, copper tools used by Chalcolithic man. So along with stone, copper began to be used. Yeah. So let us look at some of the important Chalcolithic cultures on your screen. Important Chalcolithic cultures. And please understand, in archaeology, there's a tradition or a fashion. In archaeology, there's a tradition or a fashion or a practice which is followed even now. Wherever a culture is first found or wherever a civilization is first discovered, it is named after the type site. For example, when we talk about Harappan civilization or Indus civilization, it is also called Harappan civilization because that civilization was first discovered at the site of Harappa. So Harappa is called a type site because where this civilization was first discovered. Therefore, it is also called Harappan civilization. So here we have a culture called Ahar culture. This was discovered at the site of Ahar in Rajasthan. So therefore, this culture has been called Ahar culture in Rajasthan. So Ahar was the a place where the artifacts pertaining to this culture were first discovered. right? So, what are the important sites pertaining to the Ahar culture in Rajasthan? Gilund, Balathal, Tambavati. Gilund, Balathal, Tambavati. These are the important sites pertaining to the Ahar culture. For example, when we come to Harappan civilization or Indus Valley civilization, we have a number of sites, isn't it, pertaining to this civilization like Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Lothal, Kalibangan, etc. So they are all important sites pertaining to the Indus civilization. Similarly, important sites pertaining to the Ahar culture are these: Gilund, Balathal, Tambavati. And the people of Ahar culture, um, they supplied copper to from the K3 mines of Rajasthan. They used the copper from the K3 mines of Rajasthan, and even the Harappans used to pick up their copper from the K3 mines of Rajasthan. So people of Ahar culture use copper from the K3 mines of Rajasthan. This is number one, Ahar culture. Are you there with me? Then we come to sir, voice buffering. Roji, voice is buffering. What about others? Am I loud and clear? Hello, please raise your hands. Am I loud and clear? Yes, clear. It's fine. Roji, please check your end. Maybe there's some problem from your end. Others, I don't have a problem. Any other, wireless device around you, please switch it off. Roji, then you'll have no problem. Okay, so this is Ahar. Then we come to OCP culture. Now look here. What is this OCP culture? I'll use a separate page here. Look here. We have the banks of the Ganga Yamuna. So imagine this is the Ganga and this is the Yamuna. Okay, this is the Yamuna. Right, this is the Yamuna. So on the banks of the Ganga Yamuna, we have found graves. Understand this. We have found graves. Okay, we have found graves. Along with that, we have found pottery. Imagine these are pots. These are the pots of different sizes. And these pots are painted ochre color. What is ochre? OCHRE. Your brick color. Brick color. Brick. That's called ochre. So we have found ochre colored pottery. Ochre colored pottery has been found. And along with these pots, which have been painted ochre color, we have found um, copper hoards. Copper hoards. Copper hoard. What's a hoard? A large, a piece of utensils, weapons, or even jewels. But here, copper hoard here in this context means hoard. Here we have found hunting and fishing weapons. Hunting and fishing weapons and weapons of war. War weapons. And very less agricultural tools have been found. Agriculture tools, very less we have found. So we have found hunting weapons, fishing weapons, war weapons. Very less agricultural tools. Okay, less agricultural tools. So on the banks of the Ganga Yamuna, okay, we have found some graves where we have found grave goods. Grave goods. What are grave goods? Goods which have been buried with the dead body. Of course, then we don't find any dead bodies here. It has disappeared. It has sort of disappeared, withered away rather. So we have, along with the graves, we have found grave goods, ochre colored pottery, and along with ochre colored pottery, we have found copper hoards. And in these hoards, we find mostly hunting and fishing weapons and weapons of war, and hardly any agricultural tools and implements. So what does it suggest? That people in the Ganga Yamuna though had a hunting and a fishing economy. They never practice agriculture. This is called OCP culture, or copper hoard culture. Copper hoard culture. OCP means ochre colored pottery. Ochre colored pottery culture, okay, or copper hoard culture. Did you understand what I'm saying? Please lift your hands. Are you there with me? Yeah, it's called OCP culture or copper hoard culture. Okay, thank you. So OCP culture or copper hoard culture, you can see what are the grave goods. You can see here what are the copper hoards. You can see on your screen, to the right of your screen. These are the weapons of war and fishing weapons, hunting and weapons of war and fishing weapons. For example, this is a spear. You can see spear. Um, you know, so this is an arrowhead. This is a spearhead. This is called anthropomorphic figure. Anthropomorphic. Anthropomorphic. That means showing characteristics of a human being. It is shaped like that of a human being. Anthropomorphic figure. So these are copper hoards. So copper hoards have been found along with pottery which have been painted in ochre color. Therefore, it is called OCP culture or copper hoard culture. Okay, OCP culture or copper hoard culture. What are the important sites? We have found these sites in Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, and Rajasthan. Madhya Pradesh, Gungeria. Uttar Pradesh, Hastinapur. Then Rajasthan, Jodhpur and Ganeshwar. Jodhpura and Ganeshwar in Rajasthan. So these are the OCP culture or the copper hoard culture, named after the ochre colored pottery used by the Chalcolithic people. And it is also called, as you can see here, copper hoard culture, because we have found these hoards, rings, celts, hatchets, swords, harpoons, spearheads, anthropomorphic figures, etc. So apart from ochre pottery, we have found copper hoards. Next important culture is the Malwa culture. So Malwa culture was first found at Malwa in Madhya Pradesh. So therefore called Malwa culture. So we have evidence of linga worship. What is linga worship here? Phallus, that is the worship of the male sexual organ. Linga. So linga is phallus. What is phallus? Male sexual organ. Male sexual organ. So the Shiva Linga is supposed to be a symbolic representation of the male sexual organ, phallus. So we have evidence of linga or phallus worship in the Chalcolithic period at Malwa in Madhya Pradesh, right? And also we have evidence of bull worship from Dhanmada in Telangana. Bull worship is there, along with rituals found in Dhanwada. So, what are the important sites pertaining to the Malwa culture? Kayata, Navdatoli, Maheshwara, and Iran. They're all found in Madhya Pradesh. Kayata, Navdatoli, Maheshwara, Iran. ERAN. So, this is the Malwa culture. So, we have discussed about the Ahar culture of Rajasthan, the OCP culture or the copper hoard culture of the Ganga Yamuna, Doab. Then, of course, we have the Malwa culture, and lastly, we have the Jorwe culture. So this culture was found at the site of Jorwe in Maharashtra. So Jorwe in Maharashtra, hence called Jorwe culture. So what are the important sites? Jorwe, of course, Inamgaon, Chandoli, Daimabad. Right? About 200 sites pertaining to this culture have been found in Maharashtra. And Daimabad was the southernmost Harappan site. We have found bronze tools at Daimabad. We have found bronze tools, and Daimabad also happened to be the southernmost Harappan site. These are the important Chalcolithic cultures. Now let us look at the distribution of these cultures. You can see here Jorwe culture, Maharashtra, Kayata and Malwa culture in Madhya Pradesh, Ahar culture in Rajasthan, and the Ganeshwar Jodhpura culture, OCP culture. This is the OCP culture on the banks of the Ganga and the Yamuna. Now let us come to, so that is the explanation given. RS, how can we compare linga with male sexual organ? It is shaped like a Shiva linga. The male sexual organ is shaped, the linga has been shaped like a Shiva linga. Um, so that's what it is. Harappans used to worship male sexual organ, a linga, and yoni is the female sexual organ in the shape of a ring stone. So it is a combination of the ring stone and the linga, the Shiva linga as such. So, because early man was enamored with life. How does life come into existence? When male and female join together, male and female energies join together. That's how we all have been born, isn't it? Therefore, Shiva Linga is depicted in the form of a male sexual organ. Right. So we'll come back here. Match the following using the codes given below. Questions. Um, no, they should not worship Pashupatinath. I have never said anything like that. RS, I have never said anything like that. right? They used to worship. We have evidence of they worshipping phallus, male sexual organ. So match the following using the codes given below. Let us look at the questions. Koldiva. Where is Koldiva? In the Bolan Valley. Koldiva. So sorry, Koldiva is in the Bolan Valley. Koldiva in UP, right? Koldiva. Burzahom in the Himalayan Valley. Mehergad. Mehergad in the Bolan Valley, and then Meherland in the Brahmaputra Valley. So the answer is D. D here. I don't have the time to conduct a quiz for you because of a shortage of time. So I'll discuss this, questions which I have put for your reference, just to get an idea for you as to what type of questions can come. We'll also be discussing the previous year UPSC prelims questions. And wherever mains questions have been asked by the UPSC pertaining to certain topics, we will discuss that also, right? So my sincere request is whatever tests we conduct, don't miss those tests. Please read up for the test and then take those tests very, very seriously, because that will be a revision for you, and you'll be applying the knowledge, whatever you gained from the classroom as well as from your textbook reading in the tests as such. So make it a point to attend the tests. And please understand, sometimes the question bank itself acts as the primary source of information, because sometimes there's a limitation as to how many textbooks you can read. So if you solve questions, what happens is those questions will be framed from different sources, with different textbooks and different sources. So therefore, you'll be in by default reading those textbooks in a way when you try to answer those questions, and you'll be thinking on those lines. So sometimes the question bank itself acts as the primary source of information. So make it a point to attend the tests. Don't miss the tests, right? Then which of the following crops were invented by the Neolithic people of India and gifted to the world? So what are the following crops invented by the Neolithic people of India? So what is the answer here? So we were the earliest to cultivate rice, isn't it? And also cotton. So the answer is 3 and 5. We are one of the earliest to cultivate rice and cotton. Then we come to third question. Earliest evidence of the domestication of animals comes from which of the following sites? So Adamgarh in Madhya Pradesh and Bagor in Rajasthan. This is the answer. Not Bimbetka, not Burzahom, not Koldiva. So the one answer is 1 and 3. Adamgarh in Madhya Pradesh and Bagor in Rajasthan. This is the earliest evidence of domestication of animals. Consider the following statements. Earliest evidence of wild rice comes from Chupani Mando. This is rice. This is right. Then earliest evidence of cultivated rice comes from Koldiva in UP. So both are in UP for that matter. So both the statements are correct. They're asking how many statements are correct. Both 1 and 2 are correct. Then earliest bone tools in the country are excavated at Muttala Chintamani Gavi. Muttala Chintamani Gavi. Chintamani Gavi. This is in the Kurnool district of Andhra. This site belongs to the Upper Paleolithic period. Earliest bone tools in the country. Upper Paleolithic period from Muttala Chintamani Gavi. Then this was a 2021 UPSC question on your screen. 2021 question UPSC. I have made a chart for you. So look here. Burzahom rock cut shrines. So they have matched the following. Which of the pairs given above is correctly matched? They're asking. Burzahom rock cut shrines. So what is rock cut shrine? Rock cut temples. We did not have rock cut temples in the Neolithic period. We have done this Burzahom, pit dwellings, double burial has been found at Burzahom in Kashmir. There were no rock cut shrines. Rock cut shrines come much, much later. Chandraketugad terracotta art. This is correct because in 2020, Chandraketugad was in the current affairs. Please understand, 2020, Chandraketugad, this site in West Bengal, this is a site in West Bengal, was in the news, Chandraketugad. So UPSC asked a question the next year, Chandraketugad. So terracotta art has been found. Huge amount of terracotta hoards have been found at Chandraketugad. Terracotta is what? Made of clay and fired in the kiln. Fired in the kiln, like bricks are fired in the kiln, like that. Terracotta art has been found at Chandraketugad. So this particular match is correct. Ganeshwar belongs to the OCP culture. So Ganeshwar is one of the important sites pertaining to the OCP culture. Ganeshwar, OCP culture. You can see here, we come back here, look at the OCP culture here on your screen. OCP, Ganeshwar. You see that? Ganeshwar. Ganeshwar is a OCP culture site. So they have asked Ganeshwar here. You can see Ganeshwar, OCP culture. Copper artifacts have been found there. So that is correct. So the answer is 2 and 3. Are you there with me? All of you? Hello? 2 and 3 is the answer. Clear? Okay. So this is the end of this chapter, right? This is the end of this first chapter. Let us come to the second chapter. Can we go to the second chapter, all of you? Indus civilization. Indus civilization. Okay, now look here. So we'll be discussing all this. Look at the synopsis on your screen. Look at the synopsis on your screen. You know quite a lot of this topic because we all have studied this in our school days, sometime or other, and some things have remained with us. We remember certain aspects of this civilization. But for UPSC, we are going to do a thorough study of all the details, the minute aspects of this civilization. That's how the prelim subject is. The prelims, paper is, isn't it? Details are there. So we'll be dealing with this particular topic fully. So how am I going to approach this topic? We'll be discussing about culture, what is culture, civilization, urban revolution. So we'll be discussing that. Then discovery of this civilization. What are the various contemporary civilizations which existed during the Harappan, along with the Harappan civilization? Various nomenclatures, various names by which this civilization is addressed, origin of this civilization, extent of this civilization, important sites pertinent to this civilization, then characteristic features like town planning, polity, what was the political structure of the Harappan society, what was the social composition, economy like agriculture, small scale industries, trade and commerce, weights and measures, religion of the Harappans, religious practices of the Harappans, script of the Harappans, pottery, seals, what are seals, what was the purpose as to why these seals were used, various methods of disposal of dead bodies, burial practices of the Harappans. Why did the civilization decline? Various theories regarding its decline, then important sites or cities of this civilization like Harappa, unique aspects of Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, the Great Bath, the Great Granary, all have been found at Mohenjo-daro, Lothal, Kalibangan, etc. The differences between Harappan and Egyptian civilization and questions which have appeared from this topic in the prelims as well as the mains. So that's how I'll be dealing with this topic. So on your screen, you can see the distribution of the Harappan civilization, the sites pertaining to this civilization. So all these sites are found in present-day parts of India and Pakistan. So the Harappan civilization was spread over present regions of India and Pakistan. Most of the sites are found in these two countries, right? And this was the this was among the four contemporary civilizations of the world, which was the oldest civilization, the Mesopotamian civilization. Mesopotamian civilization on the banks of the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers. On the banks of the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers in modern day Iraq. So, Mesopotamian civilization was in modern day Iraq. This is the oldest of the civilizations. This is the oldest of the contemporary civilizations. The second oldest is the Egyptian civilization on the banks of the river Nile. On the banks of the river Nile. So, this is the second oldest. The third is the Harappan civilization, also called Indus civilization, on the banks of the river Indus and the Gaggar Hakra. So most of the sites are found on the banks of the river Indus and the Gaggar Hakra. And the fourth is a Chinese civilization. The fourth is a Chinese civilization on the banks of the river Huanghe or Wanghe. So this is the Chinese civilization on the banks of the river Wanghe or Wangho. So this is the Harappan civilization ranks amongst the four contemporary civilizations of the world. So this is the third oldest. Please understand, Harappan civilization is the third oldest after the Mesopotamian and the Egyptian civilization. But when we compare all the four civilizations, the Harappan civilization was the largest of the contemporary civilizations, third oldest and the largest, but the largest of the contemporary civilization, spread over an area of 1.3 million square kilometers. Spread over an area of 1.3 million square kilometers. This was the size of the civilization. And throughout this civilization, we see uniformity in various aspects. Uniformity in the way the Harappans built their cities, right? We look at the town planning of the Harappans. So we come to know a lot about the town planning of the Harappans, their trade and commerce, religious practices, weights and measures, etc. From the huge excavations which have taken place in India as well as Pakistan, right? So the oldest Harappan site is supposedly Birrana. Birrana in Haryana is supposed to be the oldest of the Harappan sites. And Rakhigari, again in Haryana, Rakhigari in Haryana is the largest of the Harappan sites. So it's the largest Harappan site is Rakhigari. It is no more Mohenjo-daro. Rakhigari was found to be larger than Mohenjo-daro. So the oldest is Birrana in Haryana and the largest is Rakhigari in Haryana again. Yes, yes, Jia. Agriculture began on a small scale in the Mesolithic period, but on a very large scale during the Neolithic period, right? In the Chalcolithic period, uh, we they mostly had a hunting and a fishing economy. It's because nowhere we have found no plows, agricultural plows or hoes for that matter. So probably we can presume that they had a hunting and a fishing economy, right? Right. So so this is the introduction to this topic. Now look at it on your screen. So this is the overall time span of the civilization given by R.S. Sharma. R.S. Sharma gives 2500 to 1750 BC as the overall time span. The overall time span of the civilization, 2500 to 1750 BC. Mature phase for 200 years, 2200 to 2000 BC. What is mature phase? When the civilization was at its peak. The civilization was at its peak, zenith, and the cities were flourishing. The cities were flourishing, and the civilization was at its peak. This is called mature phase. Then, for various reasons, the Harappans abandoned their cities and went away to rural areas. For various reasons, the Harappans abandoned their cities. We look at the decline of the Harappan civilization later. So they went away to rural areas, and that phase is called post-urban phase. That is from 1800 to 1200 BC, post-urban phase, also called sub-Indus culture or late Harappan culture. That is from 1800 to 1200 BC, right? Now, some basic information. Use of metals began around 4500 BC, use of metals. Then we have the stone copper age, Chalcolithic period, 4500 to 2500 BC. Overall time span, 4500 to 2500 BC, the Chalcolithic age. Then we have the Bronze Age, uh, you know, contemporaneous with the Harappan civilization, 2500 to 1750 BC, Bronze Age. So Harappans were living in the Bronze Age. And when we say Bronze Age, it even inevitably means people were living in cities. Bronze Age means people were living in cities. It is inferred. Bronze Age means people were living in cities. Okay. So to 2500 to 1750 BC. And Iron Age is from 1000 BC onwards. It continues till today. 1000 BC onwards. Iron Age. Right. All clear? Can I move on? Hello? All of you? See, after lunch is a little dull time. So what you do is you wash your face. I hope you have taken a small nap and then keep writing, so that way you'll not feel sleepy. Okay, that way you'll not feel sleepy. Keep writing, and then look here. Let us discuss all these things. Culture. What is culture? What is civilization? What is urban revolution? Right? Culture. What is culture? So in history, what is culture? Culture is a way of life. Culture is a way of life, and we can call it as prehistoric culture. Prehistoric cultures. We've just now done that, isn't it? Prehistoric cultures or Stone Age. So, what is culture? So, imagine a tribe. Imagine a tribe, any tribe in India, any living in the forest, in the northeast, or any part of India, in Tamil Nadu, in Karnataka, in Andhra, etc. Any tribe, any part of India, Madhya Pradesh. So, what is unique to a tribe? What is unique to a tribe? Number one is they are living in a particular environment. They are habituated to be living in a particular environment. So, first aspect of culture is habitual environment. It includes the use of habitual environment. People are used to be living in a particular environment. That is number one. Number two is there are social relations. There is interpersonal relations amongst the people of the tribe. So social relations are there. Then they communicate through a medium of language. People communicate through a medium of language. Not necessary that a tribe has a script. They might not know how to write, but they are able to communicate with each other through the medium of a language. So habitual environment, social relations, language, rituals. People follow common rituals in a tribe, isn't it? So rituals. Then you have tool types, different types of tools, same type of tools. Okay, different and same type of tools are used by the members of the tribe. So different types of tools are used, tool types. Then pottery types, different types of pots are used by the tribe. That is called pottery types, different types of pots, different purposes, different shapes, different sizes. Similarly, different types of tools like sharp, blunt, etc., etc. Okay, so this is known as culture, and there could be multiple cultures in a small region. So in a small region, let's say there are a group of people living here with their own culture. There's another group of people called B living there with their own distinct culture. C is living there, D is living here, like that. So there could be multiple kinds of cultures in a smaller region. This is called culture. Are you there with me? Culture. This is called culture. Culture is a way of life. It includes the use of all those things. Just imagine a tribe, right? Habitual environment, social relations, language, ritual, tool types, pottery types. Clear? Then we come to civilization. What's civilization? So, what is civilization? It is the highest development of culture. The highest stage of development of a culture is called civilization. Highest stage of development of a culture. It's more complex and sophisticated. So, let us understand the constituents of a civilization. What does it entail? Number one, urban living. People are living in cities. So civilization means people are living in cities. They are not living in the forest, or neither are they living in rural areas. They are living in cities. So city life is given in a civilization. Number one. Number two, a conscious aesthetic awareness. What is aesthetics? A conscious aesthetic awareness. Aesthetics means appreciation of art, beauty, painting, music, dance, etc. That's called aesthetics. So, an appreciation of art, beauty, music, dance, etc. That is called aesthetics. So, a conscious aesthetic awareness. Number one. Number two. Number three. People follow sophisticated religious beliefs. People follow sophisticated religious beliefs. For example, we have the Harappan civilization, and all of you know about the Great Bath. In Mohenjo-daro, there was something called the Great Bath. It was not a swimming pool. It looked like a swimming pool, but it was not the purpose as to why it was used. It was a ritual bathing site, and we have found rooms around the Great Bath. You see, this is the Great Bath. Imagine this is the Great Bath, and we find rooms here adjoining the Great Bath. We find rooms. I'll show you the picture later, like this. It is believed that, and you have steps going down the Great Bath. So people used to take a ritual bath here, clean themselves up, wash themselves up, and in these rooms, A, B, C, D, like that, we have ablutions. Some ablutions, pujas, traditions, rituals were performed. Some ablutions or rituals were performed in the rooms around the Great Bath. So this is what is presumed by the archaeologists and historians. So people of the Harappan civilization had a sophisticated religious beliefs. So they followed sophisticated religious beliefs. So this is number three. Number four, use of texts. That is, people are literate. They know how to read and write. They know how to read and write. Predominantly, not everybody, most of them know how to read and write. Quite a sizable number in the civilization know how to read and write. So people are literate. Use of text. Number five, society is unequally divided. So there is economic stratification. Economic stratification is there, not caste. There's no concept of caste here. So some people are richer, some people are not so rich. So there is economic stratification. Society is unequally divided. Then similarity of artifacts. People use the same type of artifacts. What type of, that is the same type of tools and instruments. Okay, if there's a mode of transport, etc., whatever they're using on a daily basis, it's similar, right? And lastly, it covers a wider area. It covers a wider area when compared to culture. It covers a wider area. This is known as civilization. So people are inevitably living in a city, right? So that is, they have conscious aesthetic awareness. There's class differentiation, high class, low class, economic stratification. People follow religious, sophisticated religious beliefs, use of texts, right? Then it covers a wider area. And of course, you have similarity of artifacts. Now, sophisticated religious belief, Hari Om, I gave you an example of the Harappan civilization. In the Great Bath, people used to clean themselves, wash themselves. And around the Great Bath, we have rooms where some ablutions or rituals were performed. So this is an example of a sophisticated religious belief, right? Society is unequally divided, high class, low class, economic division. Atish, some people are better off, some people are not so better off economically. Similarity of not aircraft, Atish, artifact. Read the spelling properly. How can there be aircraft? Atish. Atish, wash your face and come. It looks like you're sleeping. It's not aircraft. It's very clear artifact. Artifact. You see, wait. Atish, wake up. Atish, it is artifacts. People are using the same type of artifacts. That is, artifact means what they are, types of tools, implements, etc. Same utensils. All those things are the same artifacts. Okay, right. I'll tell you something. My job is easier compared to you people's. I'll tell you why. Because I'm speaking. I'm speaking and I'm teaching you. I'm reading up, or rather, I'm using my memory. I'm using the PPTs, etc. I'm underlining. I'm writing something. So I'm not knowing how the time is going. You people have to sit on the other side and be attentive, be alert the whole day, right? And also, um, you know, be at the best of your attentions. So therefore, it's much more tougher for you, right? So therefore, I'm telling you, use treat yourself gently, wash your face, have coffee, tea next to you, right? And then whenever you get a break, walk around, freshen up, and come back. So it's challenging for you. It's much easier for me that way, right? So keep writing. And we'll move on. So this is civilization. Are you clear? Now, if I ask you a question, among these 7 points, the constants of a civilization, what do you think is the most important and why? What do you think is the most important and why? Okay, Kola, very good. What do you think is the most important and why? Hello, anybody can answer that question among these seven constants of a civilization. Number one, Suman says number one. Seventh one covers a wide area. Use of text. Sonal, why Sonal? Very good. Sonal is right. Use of text is the most important. Jishima also is right. Shikha is also right. So the reason is use of text. Okay, the Satyanarayana also is right. Use of text, because a civilization might have all these points except text. If they don't have the knowledge of writing, if they don't know how to read and write, you cannot consider that civilization as civilized. You cannot consider the people of that civilization as civilized. So use of text is the most important in this particular among these points, use of text is the most important, right? Use of text. So somebody who knows how to read and write is considered to be civilized. Not transfer of information, Karan. It is more to do with education is like an ornament around your neck, isn't it? There may be a very rich man, but he may not be educated, and the way he behaves is different from an educated person, educated, cultured person. So there's a difference. So therefore, somebody who is educated, he knows how to read and write, is considered, and that civilization is considered to be civilized as such. People know how to read and write. They're much more cultured and civilized. Okay. Now let us come to urban revolution. So we have discussed culture, we have discussed civilization. Now, what is urban revolution? On your screen, urban revolution. First of all, we have technological advancement. There is technological advancement. What is technology? What is technology? Yeah, Puja, Vedas were orally taught. Yeah, yes, right. We'll come to that Vedas later. Don't worry. You be in the moment, Puja. You be in the moment. We are doing Harappan civilization. You be in the moment. We discuss about this. We'll come to our Vedas later. What is technology? Application of science, simplifying our work. Your Three Idiots definition. You have the movie. You must have seen the movie Three Idiots. Definition of technology, technological advancement. Atish, making human life easy. Very good, Sonal. Anything which reduces human effort is technology. Application of science. Okay. Anything which reduces human effort is technology. So here, for example, the invention of the wheel. You have the wheel. The invention of the wheel is a great technological advancement, isn't it? So that is called technological advancement. So that is number one. Number two is metallurgy, use of metals. Atish, use of metals, copper, tin, brass, gold, silver, use of metallurgy, metals. So that is number two. Number three is surplus production. There is surplus production. So people are engaging in agriculture, okay, and other small scale industries, and whatever they grow, whatever they produce, that is stored. That is called surplus production, particularly within the context of food grains here. So there's surplus production. So food agriculture is practiced by the people, and whatever is cultivated is stored. So in the granaries, in pots, or in the granaries. So they have more time for other things to do. So surplus production, specialization of crafts. So somebody is a better carpenter, and that carpentry profession is there in his family. His grandfather was a carpenter, his father was a carpenter. That person is a carpenter. So you have specialization of crafts. Then class differentiation. High class, low class. Economically, everybody is not the same. Somebody is richer, somebody is not so rich. So class differentiation. State formation. What's the meaning of state formation here? Please understand, there is a governance system in order. Please understand here, you have cities like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. You have cities like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, and in their peak, they had a population of about 35,000 to 40,000. So these cities had a population of 35,000 to 40,000, right? And when thousands of people are living in a city like Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, we require a governance system in place. You require somebody to govern interpersonal relations, maintain law and order, so that everything goes on smoothly in the society. So there is a governance system in place. That's called state formation, right? And invention of writing. People who know how to read and write. So invention of writing. So when all these things come together, we have civilizations happening. All these ushers in civilization. So technological advancement, metallurgy, surplus production, specialization, class differentiation, state formation, invention of writing. Right? Which point, Arshid? Which point you want me to repeat, Arshid? This point is which point, Arshid? Class differentiation, Meghana. Class differentiation is high class, low class, rich. Some people are rich, some people are poor. Everybody is not of the same economic stratification level. In a tribe, you remember, in a tribe, please understand, in a tribe, everybody is of the same economic level. There's no rich and poor in a tribe because everybody is of the same economic status. Whereas in a civilization, some people are richer, some people are not so rich. Okay, that is the meaning of that. Metallurgy is use of metals. Use of metals. Use of metals like copper, tin, bronze, gold, etc. Gold, etc. That is metallurgy. Metallurgy. Himali, I have already answered that. Metallurgy, I have already done that. Hariom, I said, Harappa and Mohenjo-daro had a population of about 35,000 to 40,000 people living in those cities. So when thousands of people are living in a city, we require somebody to maintain law and order. A governance system is required, and administration is required to maintain law and order, peace and amity, and therefore we can presume the existence of a state there, existence of a government, a governing body or a state there. So you have state formation. That's the meaning of that. Okay. Are you clear with me? Are you clear? Okay. All of you, can I move on? So here I have already given you the introduction to this topic. This was the Harappan civilization was the um, the third oldest but the largest amongst the contemporary civilization. It ranks amongst the four contemporary civilizations of the world, along with the Mesopotamian, the Egyptian, and the Chinese civilization. So, though the Harappan civilization is the third oldest, it is the largest amongst the contemporary civilizations, right? So, we have found sites pertaining to the civilization both in India and Pakistan. And most of the sites are found on the banks of the Indus and the Gagar Hakra, and therefore this civilization is also called as Indus civilization. Now, we have at the time of independence, how was this civilization discovered? So, oldest is which one? I told you, Birana. Birana is the oldest. Birana is the oldest of the Harappan sites, and Rakhigarhi in Haryana again is the largest of the Harappan sites. And we have found a number of sites in present day Gujarat, Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, including in Pakistan, many parts of Pakistan. So, so here, how was this civilization discovered? Now look here on your screen. Look here, how was this civilization discovered? Anybody? Anybody knows this? How was this civilization discovered? How was this civilization discovered? Anybody? British found it while laying railway tracks. Sonal, very good. Paintings on, no, not Satyanarayana, not paintings on rocks. Train track, no idea. Okay, railway lines. Kola, uh, Muttamiz also says he's right. Muttamiz. Jia is right. Okay, Srijit. Okay, we'll come back. We'll come back here. Now look here. How was this civilization discovered? Very interesting. It was discovered, as we all know, during the British period when the British were ruling this country. But then, by 1850, the British were the masters of India. They had conquered almost the whole of India, isn't it? They had defeated the French in the Carnatic Wars. They had conquered Bengal. Then they conquered the Mysore, right? Then they conquered the Marathas, 1818, in the three Anglo-Maratha wars. And then they conquered Punjab in 1849. That conquered Punjab. So by 1850, the British were the masters of this country. 100 years earlier, that is in 1750, England was experiencing what is known as the Industrial Revolution. So when I do world history, we will talk about it. Industrial Revolution. So we have a very interesting topic as part of world history called Industrial Revolution. So 100 years back, that is in 1750, England was experiencing what is known as the Industrial Revolution. And as part of this Industrial Revolution, we have a number of machines which were invented. So this was basically a technological revolution, the Industrial Revolution. So a number of machines were invented which cut down human labor and time. And these machines were installed in huge buildings which came to be called factories. So the Industrial Revolution inaugurated the modern factory system. And England was the workshop of the world. England became the workshop of the world. And England had colonies all over the world. So England was a great conqueror, imperial power. So she had colonies all over the world. And what England would do is, and also she had a very powerful navy, not only a fighting navy, but also a merchant marine. She also had a merchant navy. So from this powerful navy of hers, she used to get raw materials from various parts of the world. So from various parts of the world, from her colonies, she'll bring raw materials to England. And in those factories, those raw materials will be converted into finished products. For example, raw cotton, raw cotton will be converted into cotton cloth, okay, and resold in those colonies and in other parts of the world. So here, the British, once they became the masters of India by 1850, they wanted to exploit this country to the maximum possible extent. So what the British began to do is they began to lay roads and railway lines in the nook and corners of the country. They began to lay roads and railway lines. Why they began to lay roads and railway lines? So that they can procure raw materials from the nook and corners of India and sell the finished products in those parts of the country. So they can procure raw materials from the nook and corners of India and sell the finished products of England, which had been manufactured in those factories of England. And one such railway line was being constructed in the northwest portions of India, which is now called Pakistan. So in the northwest portions of India, we have one such railway line which was being constructed, and the leveling work was going on. You see, the land was like this. It was an undulating land. So the land was not level. Okay, it was undulating. You have ups and downs in the land. You have mounds of earth, in that area. So digging work was going on. And one British engineer, his name was Charles Mason. He was a soldier and also a part-time archaeologist, a freelance archaeologist. His name was Charles Mason. This Charles Mason, as early as 1826, when he was supervising the construction of this railway line, noticed something which he had never noticed. He noticed bricks, burnt bricks. He noticed burnt bricks, right? He noticed terracotta objects, terracotta that is made of clay and fired in the kiln. So he may notice terracotta objects, burnt bricks, seals. What are seals? I'll come to that. It's basically a clay tablet. So he noticed all these things. And Charles Mason noted down that in his diary. Okay, noted down in his diary. So he noticed all these things at a place called Harappa. So he noticed all these things at Harappa. Then we have Alexander Cunningham, an archaeologist called Alexander Cunningham. He visited Harappa in 1853 and 1856. So Alexander Cunningham visited Harappa in 1853, middle of the 19th century. He noticed all these things. He was a trained archaeologist, Alexander Cunningham. So he noticed the burned bricks, terracotta objects, seals, etc. And then we have in 1865 the Department of Archaeology, which was established by the British. Department of Archaeology was established. Then they winded it up again, recreated the department in 1870. So 1865 they created the Department of Archaeology. Then they winded it up and again recreated the department in 1870. And Alexander Cunningham was made the Director General of the Department of Archaeology, which is now called ASI, Archaeological Survey of India. So 1870, they again recreated the Department of Archaeology and appointed Alexander Cunningham as the head of the department. So now it is called Archaeological Survey of India. So by this time, the news had spread amongst the archaeologists that there was some civilization here, a long lost civilization in the northwest portions of India. So there was a buzz among the British and the European architects, engineers, etc., architects and historians. Finally, we have um, you have Sir John Marshall. Sir John Marshall, he ordered for extensive excavation. He became the Director General of the Archaeological Survey of India, and he ordered for extensive excavations in the northwest portions of India. As a result, in 1921, we have Harappa, which was excavated by Dayaram Sahani. D.R. Sahani, Dayaram Sahani, discovered Harappa, 1921. 1922, we have Mohenjo-daro, which was excavated by Rakhaldas Banerjee, R.D. Banerjee, Rakhaldas Banerjee. And in 1924, in a London weekly, this is called the Illustrated London Times. In a London weekly called the Illustrated London Times, Sir John Marshall announced the discovery of this civilization to the world, and he was the one who called it as Indus Valley Civilization. He was the one who gave the name Indus Valley Civilization. He called this civilization as Indus Valley Civilization. So please understand, this was a chance discovery. It was discovered by chance by the British, right? Did you understand? Hello? Yeah, you're right, Nikhil. But we should also be grateful to the British because they were responsible for discovering many things pertaining to our history and culture. So here you see, this was a chance discovery, right? We have Charles Mason. They wanted to understand this country better. So one of the reasons why they did all this was to understand our history, culture, civilization, so that they can better exploit this country. So here we come back here. Charles Mason, as you know, 1826. He was an East India Company soldier, an explorer. EIC is East India Company, in short, East India Company. So he was the first to discover the ruins of Harappa while supervising the construction of a railway track. Alexander Cunningham visited the site of Harappa in the middle of the 19th century. Archaeological Survey of India, that is the Department of Archaeology, was recreated with Alexander Cunningham as its first Director General. And in 1924, Sir John Marshall, as the Director General of the ASI, announced the discovery of this civilization in a London weekly, the Illustrated London Times. And he was the one who called as Indus Valley Civilization. Right? Are you clear? So this is how this civilization was first discovered. This is Major General Sir Alexander Cunningham. On your screen, you can see these are the titles given to him: KCSI, CIE, Knight, Star of India, something like that. K is Knight, KNIGT, Knight Star of India. KC is, I forget the name. Um yeah, these are the titles which were given to Sir Alexander Cunningham. And interestingly, we have an Indian archaeologist, Amalnanda Ghosh. A. Ghosh tells us that Alexander Cunningham was the first to discover Harappa. It was not Dayaram Sahni. Amalnanda Ghosh tells us that Alexander Cunningham was the first to discover Harappa, but he did not understand its historical or archaeological significance. Right? So he makes that statement. And of course, we have Cunningham identifying all these places: Bairat, Koshambi, Nalanda, Shravasti, etc. Right? So this is about the discovery of this civilization. So let us go to other aspects of this civilization, the contemporary civilizations which existed along with the Harappan civilization. So we have the Sumerian or the Mesopotamian civilization in modern day Iraq. In the modern day Iraq, we have the Sumerian or the Mesopotamian civilization on the banks of the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers. And we know both through literary and archaeological evidence that Harappans and Mesopotamians had trade and cultural contacts. There was trade and cultural contacts between the Harappans and the Mesopotamians. We'll come to that later. So this is the oldest of the contemporary civilizations, the Mesopotamian civilization. The second oldest is the Egyptian civilization in Africa. Africa, on the banks of the river Nile. Right, we have the Egyptian civilization. The third oldest is, of course, the Harappan civilization. And the fourth civilization is the Chinese civilization on the banks of the Huanghe or Huanghe River Basin. So till now, we have no evidence of the Harappans having contacts with the Egyptians or the Chinese. Whether the Harappans were in touch with the Chinese or with the Egyptians, we don't have any evidence till now. But we do know that 100% that Harappans and Mesopotamians were in touch with each other. There was trade and cultural contacts between the Mesopotamian and the Harappan civilization. So let us understand the various nomenclatures of Indus civilization, the various names by which this civilization has been called. Now look here on your screen. Initially, this civilization was called Indus Valley Civilization. Indus Valley Civilization. Initially, it was called Indus Valley Civilization. Why? Because all the sites pertaining to this civilization were found in the Indus Valley, and therefore it was called Indus Valley Civilization. For example, Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Lohomjo-daro, Chanhu-daro, Juderjo-daro, etc. So these were some of the early sites pertaining to this civilization, which were all found in the Indus Valley. Hence, initially, it was called as Indus Valley Civilization. That explains as to why John Marshall called this civilization initially as Indus Valley Civilization. But later, further excavations revealed sites pertaining to the civilization far away from the river valley. So far away from the Indus River Valley, we find as far as Lothal in Gujarat, Alamgirpur in UP, Daimabad in Maharashtra, right? So we find sites far away from the river valley, the Indus River Valley. Therefore, the name was changed to Indus Civilization. So it began to be called Indus Civilization. Okay. Then thirdly, it is also called Harappan Civilization. Why it's called Harappan Civilization? Because Harappa is the type site. This is the first type site. Type site means this is where the civilization was first discovered. So Harappa became the first type site, and therefore it is called Harappan Civilization. Fourthly, it is also called Bronze Age Civilization. Bronze Age Civilization, or Bronze Age Civilization, because Harappans knew how to smelt copper and tin. They knew how to mix copper and tin and make bronze. So when you mix copper and tin, you get bronze. So this was a Bronze Age civilization, and it is also called proto-historic civilization. Why it's called proto-historic civilization? Because had a script. Harappans had a script, but whatever they have written is even now unintelligible. We cannot read that script. Therefore, it comes under the category of proto-history or proto-historic civilization. So to call it as Indus Valley civilization would be technically wrong, though they use it carelessly as Indus Valley civilization. But technically, it would be wrong to call it as Indus Valley civilization because it is no more confined to the Indus Valley. It is far beyond the Indus Valley, spread far beyond the Indus Valley. These are the various nomenclatures pertaining to this civilization. Are you clear? Yeah, Srijit, you are right. Knight Commander of the Order of the Star of India. Right. These are the various titles given to Alexander Cunningham. I hope it is interesting. It gets interesting as we go further. But ancient India is an important segment, and when you're listening to class, be alert because you might not have the inclination to again attend. So when you're attending for the first time, make it the last time. Make a thorough, prepare thoroughly, understand the class, whatever is being told to you, and go back and read. Right? Are you there with me? Can I continue? Various nomenclatures of Indus civilization. Okay, Indus Valley, I told you, named so by John Marshall. Then Harappan civilization, because Harappa is the type site of the Indus civilization. It was discovered at Harappa, therefore called Harappan civilization. Then it is called Bronze Age civilization because they had discovered or they knew how to smelt bronze, make bronze by mixing copper and tin. Then the script remains undeciphered, therefore it's called proto-historic civilization. Okay, so origin of this civilization. So let's come back here, continue this topic. Origin of this civilization. So let's talk about the origin of the Harappan civilization. Now, when this civilization was first discovered, understand this, when this civilization was first discovered, the British were not able to believe that such an advanced civilization could exist amongst the ancestors of the Indians over whom they were ruling now. So this civilization was discovered when 1921, isn't it? It was discovered in 1921, and the British historians, like for example, Mortimer Wheeler could not believe that such an advanced civilization could exist amongst the ancestors of the Indians. You see, when the Harappan civilization was flourishing, Britain was in the Stone Age. Even now, even at that point in time, Britain was in the Stone Age. So then the British were ruling over us at that point in time when the civilization was discovered. So they were not able to believe that such an advanced civilization could exist amongst the ancestors of the Indians. Now, Mortimer Wheeler, a British historian, came out with this theory that it was a foreign origin theory. That is, he said the Mesopotamians, you see, we saw this, isn't it? The Mesopotamians were the Mesopotamian civilization was the oldest civilization. So he said Mesopotamians came to the Indus Valley and they were the ones who established this civilization here. In other words, he said that the Indus civilization was an extension or an offspring of the Mesopotamian civilization. Now, on what basis on what basis did Mortimer Wheeler make this assumption? On what basis did he say that this was an extension of the Mesopotamian civilization? You see here, we have the Great Bath. I told you, this is the Great Bath. Imagine this is the Great Bath. Okay, at Mohenjo-daro, you have a ritual bathing site with steps and you have rooms around the Great Bath. I'll show you the picture later. Okay, this is the Great Bath. And these are the rooms around the Great Bath. Now, it is believed that some rituals were performed in those rooms after the person cleaned himself or herself in that pool, in that Great Bath. So, there were some rituals performed in these rooms adjoining the Great Bath. We have found a similar bathing site in Mesopotamia. So, in the premises of the Temple of Ishtar, we have an area called Temple of Ishtar in Mesopotamian civilization. And in the Temple of Ishtar, we have found a similar bathing area with rooms around it. This is one similarity between the Mesopotamian civilization and the Indus civilization. Similarly, we have the figure of a look here on your screen. I'll show you a figure. We have something called Harappan seals. I'll come back here. Just hold on. You look here on your screen. Look here on your screen. This is the figure of a hero. You can see here. There's a hero. There's a man here, and he's holding two tigers in his two hands. He's holding two tigers. Okay, on a seed, on a clay tablet found in one of the Harappan sites, we have found a hero holding two tigers in his hands like that. Now, in Mesopotamia, in the Mesopotamian civilization, we have found a similar uh, figure of a hero. And this hero, I'm just hold on. Yeah, this hero has been called Gilgamesh. This hero has been called Gilgamesh. Mesopotamian script has been deciphered. We are able to read the Mesopotamian script. So this hero is called Gilgamesh, and he is holding two lions in his hand. No, he is holding two lions in his hand like that. So there are some similarities between the Mesopotamian civilization and the Indus civilization. And looking at these similarities, Mortimer Wheeler came to the conclusion that this was an extension. The Indus civilization was an extension of the Mesopotamian civilization. But he failed to notice the dissimilarities, the differences when compared to these two civilizations. The differences are more than the similarities. For example, the Harappans used to live in well-planned cities and towns, whereas the Mesopotamian cities are haphazardly constructed. Similarly, the religious practices of the Harappans are different when compared to that of the Mesopotamians. The weights and measures are different. Other aspects are different. Now, many other aspects are different. Similarities are very few when compared to the differences. Therefore, historians have rejected the theory of Mortimer Wheeler. What we can say is the Mesopotamian civilization might have influenced the Harappan civilization positively. So Harappans might have copied certain aspects of the Mesopotamian civilization because there was contact between these two civilizations. But to say that the Indus civilization was an extension of the Mesopotamian civilization would be totally wrong. Right? This is number one. Are you there with me, all of you? Did you understand what I'm saying? Please raise your hands. Srijit, yes. Sai Krishna. Okay, Kola. Right. So the differences are more than the similarities. Therefore, this theory was rejected. In some places, there are similarities, but the differences are more. Secondly, we have a Pakistani archaeologist called Rafiq Mughal. So he came out with that theory that the Harappan civilization originated from the Baluchi cultures of Baluchistan. So in Baluchistan, Pakistan, there were four Baluchi cultures, that is Zob, Quetta, Null, and Kulli. So he said, Professor Rafiq Mughal came out, was of the opinion that the Harappan civilization originated from the rural cultures of Baluchistan. Now, please understand, Zob, Quetta, Null, and Kulli were rural cultures. They were rural cultures. And since they were rural cultures, historians don't agree to the fact that suddenly, abruptly, out of the rural cultures, a full-fledged urban culture could have arisen. A full-fledged urban culture couldn't have arisen from the rural cultures of Balochistan. So Rafiq Mughal doesn't give us any substantiating proof he doesn't give us facts, doesn't prove, when he says that these four rural cultures gave birth to the urban culture of the Harappan civilization. So this theory was also rejected by other historians. Rafiq Mughal's theory has been rejected because no way can a full-fledged urban culture or urban civilization originate from the rural cultures of Balochistan. The most acceptable theory is given by Amalananda Ghosh, A. Ghosh, and H.D. Sankalia. They were of the opinion that the Harappan civilization originated from the pre-Harappan cultures of Amri, Kotdiji, and Kalibangan. So we have in the pre-Harappan levels at Amri, Kotdiji, and Kalibangan, right? So we have pre-Harappan cultures here at Amri, Kotdiji. So Amri and Kotdiji are in Sindh, and Kalibangan is in Rajasthan. So from here, we have the people living in Amri, Kotdiji, Kalibangan slowly developed allied technology, city living. They knew how to make terracotta objects. They began to live in well-planned cities and towns. So we have evidence of cities and towns, so small cities and towns at Amri, Kotdiji, and Kalibangan in the proto-Harappan levels, and slowly they developed into the later day Harappan culture or Harappan civilization. This particular theory of A. Ghosh and H.D. Sankalia has been accepted by most of the historians. So it is a purely indigenous origin. This civilization arose indigenously, locally. The Mesopotamians might have influenced the Harappans, right? But then to say that it was directly implanted from outside would be totally wrong. It was a purely indigenously evolved civilization. Did you understand? This is the origin of this civilization. All clear? All clear. Okay. So it evolved indigenously from the pre-Harappan cultures of Amri, Kotjiji, and Kalibangan. So people here gradually developed a script, technology, material advancement, urban centers, allied technology, and so on. And they grew into the day-to-day advanced civilization. So let us talk about the extent of the Indus civilization. It was the largest of the contemporary civilizations. We have seen this. It was the largest of the contemporary civilizations, spread over an area of 1.3 million square kilometers. The northernmost Harappan site is supposedly Manda in Jammu Kashmir. The northernmost Harappan site is Manda The southernmost site is Naimabad in Maharashtra. The easternmost site, so not to south, it is 1100 kilometers. Not to south, it is 1100 kilometers. East to west, it is 1600 kilometers. The easternmost site was Alamgirpur in UP, and the westernmost site, Sutka Gendor, on the Pakistan-Iran border. So Balochistan in Pakistan. This was the westernmost site. Alamgirpur is the easternmost site. So remember the northernmost, southernmost, easternmost, and westernmost site. And throughout this civilization of 1.3 million square kilometers, we see uniformity in many aspects in the way the Harappans designed their cities, the religious practices of the Harappans, the weights and measures, okay, pottery, etc., are very, very similar. Now, some historians say that Manda cannot be called as the northernmost site. It should be Shortugai in Afghanistan. So you can see here on your screen, we have a site called Shortugai in here in this area, Shortugai. So some historians say that Shortugai should be considered as the northernmost Harappan site, not Manda. But most historians reject Shortugai as a northernmost site because this was a trading colony. This was only a trading colony. It was not a regular city. Therefore, Shortugai is not accepted as the northernmost site. But in case in the examination, in the MCQ question, if they have asked Shortugai, if they're given Shortugai as one of the choices, then you mark Shortugai. Otherwise, it is Manda. Are you there with me? If Shortugai is given as the option, then it would be correct. Okay. If Shortugai is not given and Manda is given, mark Manda. Are you there with me? Hello. Please raise your hands. Okay. So you see here, Manda comes here. Manda is here. Shortugai is much ahead. Okay. Okay. Right. Now let us look at the important sites pertaining to this civilization. Important sites pertaining to this civilization. Now, what I have done is I put a chart for you. So my PPTs are full of these things. I try to make a chart, then I color it. So this helps the student as well as me when I teach, right? And important things are there already organized for you. Now, if you look at the sites, important sites, I have uh, made them in a sequential order of their discovery. UPSC might not ask you, till now, they have not asked you the sequence of their discovery. In other exams, like state service exams and other exams, they might ask you such a question, but UPSC till now has not asked anything like that. The sequential order of the discovery of the Harappan sites. What they can ask you, what UPSC can ask you is the on the bank of which river a particular Harappan site has been located or has been discovered, on the bank of which river. So river becomes very important. So keep a note of that, make a note of that. So for example, we have the Harappan site of the Indus site of Harappa, discovered in 1921. Who was the excavator? Dayaram Sahani was the excavator. It is on the bank of the river Ravi in the Pakistani part of Punjab. In the Pakistani part of Punjab. So Harappa on the banks of the river Ravi. Mohenjo-daro, the second site to be discovered in 1922 by Rakhal Das Banerjee, R.D. Banerjee. It is on the bank of the Indus River. I have mentioned RB of Indus, right bank of Indus. Don't worry about the which side of the bank of the river. You just remember Indus. So Mohenjo-daro is on the banks of the river Indus. Harappa is on the banks of the river Ravi. Sutka Gendor, discovered by Orelstein on the banks of the Dasht River. Chanhudaro by R.C. Majumdar on the banks of the Indus again. So Mohenjo-daro and Chanhudaro are on the banks of the Indus. Right? Rangpur by M.S. Watts. So M.S. Watts is Madho Swarup Watts. Madho Swarup Watts. It's not M.S. Watts. It sounds like a Britisher's name. No, he is very much an Indian. M.S. Watts. So he was the one who discovered the site of Rangpur on the banks of the river Bhadar, Rangpur. Then Lothal by S.R. Rao, it was excavated. Bogavo, it's on the banks of the river Bogavo in Gujarat. Ropar in the Punjab, on the banks of the Satluj by Y.D. Sharma. Then we have the site of Kot Diji in Sindh, Pakistan, on the banks of the Indus by F.A. Khan. Kalibangan On the banks of the Ghaggar, the extinct Saraswati in Rajasthan, Kalibangan by B.B. Lal. Then Banwali on the banks of the Saraswati by R.S. Bisht in Haryana. Dholavira is the latest Harappan site. 1991, it was discovered. Dholavira, latest Harappan site to be discovered. It is not on the bank of any river, so therefore I have left it blank, as you can see. It was discovered by J.P. Joshi, Jagapati Joshi, J.P. Joshi. Latest Harappan site to be discovered is Dholavira. Rakigari was excavated in 1963, but excavations began only in 1997. Okay, Rakigari was discovered in 1963 by Suraj Bhan on the banks of the Gaggar Hakra or Dishadwati in Haryana. And Rakigari is now the largest of the Harappan sites. It is no more Mohenjo-daro. Even R.S. Sharma's book gives it as Mohenjo-daro, but it is now Rakigari, which is the largest Harappan site. A few years back, a lot of articles came in the Hindu newspaper where extra mounds were discovered. Imagine this was Rakigari. You see, this was the size of Rakigari. Okay, so imagine this is Rakigari in Haryana, and next to Rakigari, there were some mounds discovered like this. So when these mounds were dug up by the archaeologists, they found a city underneath these mounds. A city was found, which means to say that Rakigari was much bigger than what it was thought to be earlier. So now Rakigari is the largest Harappan site. It is no more Mohenjo-daro. Mohenjo-daro comes second. Are you there with me, all of you? Yeah. Atish, RB, I told you don't worry about RB. RB is right bank of Indus. Which bank of the Indus it is? That's not necessary. Yeah. Mohenjo-daro, RD Banerjee, Rakhaldas Banerjee. Then you see, when was this civilization first discovered? This civilization was discovered in 1921. Right? Harappa was the first site to be discovered. Mohenjo-daro was the second site to be discovered. 1947, India became independent. So India became independent, and you have also another country called Pakistan, which was born. So by 1947, 6 sites had been discovered. 6 sites had been discovered pertaining to this civilization. So with partition, 4 went away to Pakistan. 4 went away to Pakistan, and 2 remained in India. So you need to know what are the 4 sites which went away to Pakistan and what are the 2 sites which remained in India at the time of independence. So 6 sites had been discovered in 1947. With partition, 4 went away to Pakistan and 2 remained in India. And as of now, we find more than 2,000 sites. More than 2,000 sites pertaining to this civilization have been discovered, both in India and Pakistan. Out of these more than 2,000 Harappan sites, about 200 are mature Harappan sites. 200 are mature Harappan sites, right? 200 are mature Harappan sites. And out of these 200, about a dozen, about 12 are huge cities like Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Lothal, Rakigari, etc. Right? So we have more than 2,000 sites, sorry, more than 1,000 sites, more than 1,000 sites pertaining to this civilization, which have been discovered till now. Not 2,000, more than 1,000. So more than 1,000 sites pertaining to the civilization have been discovered now. So you can see here on your screen, in 1947, with partition, 4 went away to Pakistan. So what are the Harappan sites which went away to Pakistan? Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Chanudaro, Jukar. So these 4 went away to Pakistan and 2 remained in India. Kotla Nihang Khan and Rangpur. Kotla Nihang Khan is in the Punjab and Rangpur is in Gujarat. So these 2 remained in India. Okay, so remember the sites which went away to Pakistan after partition, and only 2 remained in India. And as of now, we have found more than 1,000 sites pertaining to this civilization, both in India and Pakistan. S.R. Rao explored the Gujarat area, Kutch and Kathiawar area, and he discovered alone more than 190 sites pertaining to this civilization. Y.D. Sharma explored the Punjab area, Jagapati Joshi, Kutch area. And in Pakistan, these are the important sites discovered: Kot Diji, Amri, Gumla, Jalilpur, Alladino, Balakot, etc. These are the important sites pertaining to this civilization discovered in Pakistan. Are you there with me? Clear? Sukta Gendor. Sukta Gendor is a westernmost site. Atish, it is a westernmost site. So let us talk about the characteristic features of this civilization. Just hold on. So let's take a 5 minutes break. Just take a 5 minutes break and come back. Just hold on. Fine. 5 minutes break. That's all. 5 minutes break and we'll come back. So I'll give you a half an hour break at 5 o'clock. Okay. Hari Om. I can only give you a 5 minutes break now. You want a 10 minutes break? And we can go for a half an hour break later from 5 to 5:30. As of now, 5 minutes break. You can take a 10 minutes break, Hari Om, but I'm giving only a 5 minutes break. Okay, we'll come back here. Just 5 minutes break. Yeah. Hello, all of you. Welcome back. Am I audible and visible? Can we go on for another 1 hour, 20 minutes? And then 5 o'clock, I'll give you a big break for half an hour break. Hello, all of you. Visible, audible, no problem. Yeah, okay, great. Loud and clear. Yeah, thank you. Hariom, wait for some time. 5 o'clock, you can take a good break, half an hour break, right? So we will continue here. So at the time of partition, 4 sites went away to Pakistan and 2 remained in India. So please remember the names of these sites. So far so good. You're clear about all the aspects till whatever we have discussed now, right? Can I move on? Right. So let us look at the characteristic features of this civilization. The characteristic features of this civilization, mainly town planning. So let us come to the town planning of the Harappans. All have rejoined? Hopefully, all have rejoined. Okay. Now let us talk about the town planning of the Harappans. So the most striking feature, town planning of the Harappan. This is the most striking feature of the Harappan civilization. Most striking feature is the fact that Harappans used to live in well-planned cities and towns. Now look here. If you look at the Harappan cities, so we see that the city was divided to two parts. So this is the ground level. So on the western side, on a raised platform, you have all the public buildings found. And there's a massive brick wall surrounding this part of the city. You see here on the western side, we have all the public buildings found here. What do you mean by public buildings? So public buildings are found here on the western side of the city, public buildings. For example, this is on the western side of the city. For example, the Great Bath at Mohenjo-daro, the Great Bath at Mohenjo-daro, the Great Granary at Mohenjo-daro, Great Granary at Mohenjo-daro. A big rectangular building has been found here, again at Mohenjo-daro, which probably served administrative purposes. An oblong, multi-pillared assembly hall, oblong, multi-pillared, multi-pillared assembly hall. So great granary, rectangular building, oblong, multi-pillared assembly hall. So both these probably served administrative purposes. All these are called public buildings. They are found in the western side of the city. And there's a massive brick wall. I have drawn that in red color. There's a massive brick wall surrounding this part of the city. Okay, so there's a massive brick wall surrounding this part of the city. And historians believe that the ruler or rulers, we don't know whether there was one king or many kings. The ruler or rulers used to stay on the western side of the city. And there's a massive brick wall surrounding that part of the city. And public buildings are found there. Okay, this is number one. Number two is on the western side, on the eastern side, we have the lower town. We have the lower town on the eastern side. And this was meant for the commoners. Commoners like you and me used to stay in the lower town on the eastern side of the city. And what we see is, notice is, there is no massive brick wall giving protection to the people of the lower town. Only at two places we find such a massive brick wall. At Surkotada, and Kalibangan, only in these two Harappan cities we find a massive brick wall around the lower town also. Otherwise, in all other Harappan cities, we don't see a massive brick wall surrounding the eastern part of the city. Right? This is number one. So every major city like Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Kalibangan, Lothal were divided into two parts. Western side you have a citadel area, and the eastern side you have the lower town. Now, when we talk about the remarkable town planning of the Harappans, I am referring to the lower town. So look here, I'll use another page. I am referring to the lower town. So you have roads running from north to south. So excuse my drawing here. So roads ran from north to south. So roads ran from north to south, east to west, dividing the city into square or rectangular blocks. So this is 90-degree angle. So I'm sure you're able to draw a better diagram than me. So, but please excuse my sketching, but I'm trying to be as clear as possible. So here you can see your roads running from north to south, east to west, dividing the city into square or rectangular blocks. And you have houses here. You see, these are the houses. Imagine these are the houses here. These are the houses on either side of the lane. These are the houses here. Right? So if you go on top, you take an aerial view of the city of Harappa, Mohenjo-daro. You take an aerial view, you go in a hot air balloon or in a helicopter, and you go look down. What do you see? You see that the city has been divided into square or rectangular blocks. It looks like a chessboard. This is called grid system or chessboard pattern. Chessboard pattern, also called grid system. So roads running from north to south, east to west, dividing the city into square or rectangular blocks. And you have 90-degree angle here. This is 90-degree angle. You see, this is 90-degree angle. So roads cut across one another at 90-degree angles, dividing the city into square or rectangular blocks. I'll use only one. Uh, I'll use only one road here. Okay, this is for easy to understand that way. So roads ran from north to south, east to west, dividing the city into square or rectangular blocks. Now look here. Some roads were as wide as 33 feet. Some roads were as wide as 33 feet. Some roads were as wide as 33 feet. So some roads were 33 feet in, so 33 feet wide. Now, let's say you are taking a walk in the streets of Mohenjo-daro, Harappa. You're taking a walk in the street of Harappa, Mohenjo-daro. And let's say you're walking like this. You're walking like this, right? Or you're walking like this. What do you notice? You are looking that side and this side of the road. You see that none of the houses have their main doors facing the main street. So you only see a plain wall. You're walking in the streets, that side and that's this side, either side of the street you have houses, but none of the houses have their main doors and windows facing the main street. So what we see is a plain wall. What you see is a plain wall, right, on either side of the road. Nowadays, when you see that side and this side of the road, you see houses and their doors are facing, the windows are facing, many of their windows and doors are facing the main street. But in Harappa, Mohenjo-daro and other cities, we see that almost all the cities, their main doors and windows are not facing the main street. Oh, so where was the entrance to the houses from the side lanes? You see here, there's a chota lane here, small gully here, small gully sort of a thing. Okay, and entrance to the houses was from the side lanes like this, right? So you have a small lane going like this, and entrance to the houses was from the side lanes. So what is the explanation given here? Explanation given here, what was the reason for this design? That none of the houses had their main doors and windows facing the main street. This is probably for two reasons. One is for flood protection. This could have been for flood protection. Okay, and the second is for privacy. This could be either for flood protection or for privacy or for both, right? So only at Lothal, we see the main door facing the main street. Only at Lothal, main door faces the main street. Faces main street. Main door of the houses face the main street. Otherwise, in all other Harappan cities, we find that the entrance to the houses was from the side lanes or the side small gullies. Right now, every house had a toilet and a well. So every house had a toilet. Imagine this is the toilet here. There's a small toilet here, and this color, red color. So whatever I marked is in that is a toilet of this house. There's a toilet here for this house. So toilets were placed at the side of the lane, side of the street. So you have a small, the toilets were placed next to the street drain. So there's a street drain here. I'll use another color. Okay, so here this is a street drain. See, there's a street drain here going like this. There's a street drain. Okay, and the toilets were placed next to the street drain. So this street drain was covered. So this was an underground drainage system. You have stone slabs covering the street drain. And all the dirty water, all the sewage will get into this small mori or a small gutter or a drain. Similarly, you have a drain coming from here, from this side of the street. You see, there's a drain here coming from this side of the street. This is also covered with stone slabs. You have a small street drain coming from here, right? Another street drain coming from here. And all these street drains are are joining the main street drain. So there's a main street drain, okay, like this. So all the dirty water goes and falls into the nearby river. So what does it show? That the Harappans gave a lot of importance to health and hygiene. They gave a lot of importance to health and hygiene. Every house had a toilet. So every house had a toilet and a well. Every street had a well. Every street had a well. You see, it is ironic that 60% of India defecates in the open now. 60% of India defecates in the open. That's the reason why we are having the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan going on. But still, when we compare ourselves with our ancestors, the Harappans, every house had a toilet, every house had a well, and uh, and it was used. Nowadays, even though the government builds toilets, latrines in the rural areas, people take some unusual pleasure in answering nature's call outside. So taking that, you have a movie also made, Toilet Ek Prem Katha. I had gone to that movie and saw saw that movie, Akshay Kumar's movie, Toilet Ek Prem Katha. So it was there was a social message in that particular movie. So it's unfortunate that 60% of India defecates in the open, and though they have toilets, they have converted the toilet into a go down, and they use the nature outside to answer nature's call, which is unfortunate. So Harappans were not like that. You see, every street had a well. Every you have spittoons placed at the corners of the streets, meant for spitting purpose. So you have some containers where people used to spit. So you must have seen many people spitting on the streets while riding or driving, or even during the red signal. When there's a red signal, people are spitting on the road, eating pan, zarda, etc., and spitting. So spitting is part of our culture in a way. But then please understand, Harappans were not like that. I don't know how this habit came, but spittoons were placed at the corners of the walls, the corners of the streets, and the Harappans used to spit there. We also have example of we have instances of references to what you call a possibility of street lamps. So street lamps were lit in the evenings. Obviously, a fire was kept burning for some time in the evenings to lighten up the cities, lighten up the streets as such. So we can expect a watch and ward system. All right. So Harappans gave a lot of importance to health and cleanliness. When you look at the toilets, what we notice is, now one more thing. These drains, the street drains were made of burnt bricks. That they were made of burnt bricks and made watertight with lime, gypsum, and mortar. Lime, gypsum, and mortar. Mortar is a cementing material, binding medium. So they used to make it tight with lime, gypsum, and mortar. So burnt bricks were used, lime, gypsum, and mortar were used to make it watertight. So bathrooms, when you look at the Harappan toilets, they were tapering towards one end, towards the street drain. So all the dirty water will go and fall into the street drain, into the gutter. So they were tiled bathrooms. You see, Harappans used to make clay tiles, and they used to fire it in the kiln, and they used to lay those clay tiles on the floor of the bathrooms. Right, I'll show you the pictures in just a moment's time. So these bathrooms were made watertight with lime, gypsum, and mortar. They used to use tiled bathrooms. So every house had a toilet, every house had a well, right? Then when it came to the Harappan houses, you let us say you enter a Harappan house. You enter a Harappan house. You see houses were of two types. You have houses with a first floor. You can see this is the first floor house. So there were two-storied houses. How to climb the first floor? Go to the first floor. You have stairs, external staircase. You have an external staircase made of solid bricks. So you climb the stairs and enter the first floor. So some houses were two-storied. What do we mean of two-storied? That is, it had a first floor, right? And some houses were single-room tenements, like this. Single-room tenements meant for the coolies. These are small rooms or houses meant for the coolies, the worker class, and these people probably were the richer people. So you can expect, we can presume that there was class differentiation. You see on your screen, we have the Harappan city is divided into two parts. Western side, a citadel area which was fortified with a wall meant to give protection to the people living in that part of the city, where the lower town, where the commoners used to stay, there was no protection. So they were specialized. There was class differentiation, isn't it? That's what it shows. Similarly, some houses were two-storied, some houses were single-room tenements meant for the coolies, meant for the coolies. So we can presume that there was class differentiation in the society. Okay, there was class differentiation in the society. Now, you enter a Harappan house. Let's say you enter a Harappan house. This is the room. Now, what we notice is the doors were placed at the corners of the wall like this. This is the door. This is placed at the corner of the wall. What is the reason for this? Anybody can answer that? Why were doors placed at the corners of the wall, not in the middle of the wall? Anybody? No engineers here, civil engineers? Hello? Those were placed at the corners of the wall. Maximum space can be utilized. Very good, Srijit. So you can have better utilization of space. We can utilize the space better if doors are placed at the corners of the wall. And even now we are copying the Harappans. Now even now we place our doors at the corners of the wall. Now look like this. Now further, if you look at a Harappan house, it looked something like this. You see, so rooms were built around a central courtyard. You see, this is open to sky. This is open to sky, open to sky. And rooms were placed around this central courtyard, right? So there was, this is an open to sky where sun, wind, rain will fall. Sun, wind, rain is open to sky. And around the open to sky, you have rooms constructed around the open to sky. So this is how the houses in India till recently were constructed. Harappans used bricks of uniform size, burnt bricks 4:2:1 in ratio. So they mostly used burnt bricks and also sun-dried bricks. Sun-dried bricks. So made in a mold, they were made in a mold and dried in the sun, sun-dried bricks. So they used burnt bricks and sun-dried bricks of uniform ratio, 4:2:1 in ratio, right? And very less stones have been used. Very less stones have been used by the Harappans. Um, then we have found L-shaped bricks for the corners. So when two walls, you see two walls like this, two walls are joining, okay, at 90-degree angle. So already they would have made an L-shaped brick. L-shaped brick. L-shaped brick were used for corners. Used for corners. Kalibangan has yielded ornamental bricks. Kalibangan has yielded ornamental bricks. So this is about the remarkable town planning of the Harappans. And one more thing, look here. You must have seen a masonry or a mason. So you notice a building construction worker who is building a wall. So he's called a mason. So look here on your screen. Let's say this is the ground level. So this is the ground level. What does he do? He mixes cement nowadays. Nowadays he mixes cement with sand, and then he puts a layers of cement. He puts a layer of cement like this in the blue color. Imagine this is the cement and sand mixed. Then he starts laying bricks. He starts laying bricks in a uniform manner. These are bricks. These are the bricks. Say these are the bricks. 2 layers, 3 layers. He puts it uniformly. Okay, like this. And then what does he do? He starts arranging bricks in a haphazard manner. Something like this. You see, like this. Like crisscross, like this. A zigzag, right? This is called arranging bricks in alternate headers and stretchers. Arranging bricks in alternate headers, HEADERS, and stretchers. When you arrange bricks in alternate headers and stretchers and you build a load-bearing wall, if you build a load-bearing wall like this, it is supposed to add strength to the building. Even now we are copying the Harappans. Load-bearing walls, when buildings are constructed like this, where the bricks are arranged in a haphazard manner, that is in alternate headers and stretchers. So this has been called, ironically, English bond method. This has been called English bond method of building walls. English bond method of building walls. This is the remarkable town planning of the Harappans. Are you there with me? So we look at, come back here, I'll show you the real picture. You see on your screen, we have most striking feature of the Harappan civilization, town planning. Uniformity is seen in town plannings at Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Kalibangan, etc. On the western side, we have the citadel or acropolis. Citadel area is also called acropolis. So on a raised platform of the city, we have all the public buildings found. That is called citadel or acropolis. There's a massive brick wall surrounding that part of the city. Or you can see on your screen, this is the citadel area. On your screen, there's a citadel area. So there's a massive brick wall surrounding this part of the city. Eastern side, you have the lower town where the common people like you and me used to stay. And as I told you, all the public buildings are found in the citadel area. The Great Bath at Mohenjo-daro, the Great Granary at Mohenjo-daro, a big rectangular building, and an oblong multi-pillared assembly hall, which probably served administrative purposes. All of them have been found in the western part of the city. And historians believe that the ruler or rulers were living in this part of the city, on the western part of the city. On the eastern side, on the lower town, we have the common people living. Only at Surkotada and Kalibangan, the lower town is fortified. Otherwise, it is not fortified. Okay, you can see on your screen here. So you have fortified lower towns, Surkotada and Kalibangan. Then we have cities were built on the grid system, also called chessboard pattern. As you can see on the picture, roads running from north to south, east to west, dividing the city into square or rectangular blocks. So you have this roads cutting each other at 90-degree angle. 90-degree angle. So obviously Harappans had some measuring instrument, maybe a plumb bob. They might have used a plumb bob to get that angle of 90 degrees, right? So they get a straight line. They might have used a plumb bob and other geometrical devices to get that alignment, perfect alignment of streets. So this is called chessboard pattern. Then houses were built with equipped with wells and tiled bathrooms, right? Tiled bathrooms. We have an underground drainage system. I'll show you the picture. You can see on your screen. This is the drainage system in Mohenjo-daro. You can see there the drains. Look at the arrangement of bricks. They're made of burned bricks. They're made of burned bricks. You see the stone slabs here. You see the stone slabs there. I have marked it in circle. So if the drain got clogged or blocked, they'll remove the stone slab. They'll push the stone slab aside, unclog the drain, and then put it back. So we can presume the existence of a municipal authority. There might have been some municipal authority. We can presume the existence of a municipal authority or an organization which kept those drains in a functional manner, in a functional order. So this is the underground drainage system. Look at the drains coming out of the houses. So these are the drains coming out of the houses and then joining the street drain. And look at the arrangement of bricks. Look at the arrangement of bricks here. So beautiful. It looks like any village in any part of India even now. It looks like any village in any part of India now. And these bricks were made watertight with lime, gypsum, and mortar. These are burned bricks used by the Harappans. So we can presume the existence of a municipal authority. Drains were made watertight with lime, gypsum, mortar. You have lamp posts um, in the streets, so they were kept burning. The fire lamps were kept burning for some time. Spittoons were there. Rooms are built around a central courtyard, open to sky. You can see here on your screen. This is the open to sky. So this is open to sky. See, this is open to sky, and we have rooms built around the central courtyard. Even now, till recently, houses were designed like this in India. Even now, in rural areas, in many of the cities, also old houses are designed like this around a central courtyard. You might have noticed some of these houses like this. Then we have doors and windows placed at the corners of the wall and never face the main street except at Lothal. So the main door is facing the main street only at Lothal. In all other cities of the Harappan civilization, the entrance to the houses was from the side lanes. Right? Then they have used burnt bricks of good quality, uniform size of bricks, 4:2:1 in ratio. L-shaped bricks were used for corners. Kalibangan has yielded ornamental bricks. Some houses were two-storied. Some houses were single-room tenements meant for the coolies. An English bond method to build walls. You can see here, this is called alternate This is called English bond method. English bond method of building walls. When you lay bricks like this, you can see here, this is called a course of stretchers, and this is called a course of headers. Okay, so when we build walls like this, load bearing walls like this, it is supposed to add strength to the walls. And please understand, as you can notice here, the the bricks were arranged through by the English bond method. The Harappans used to build their walls according to the English bond method, but they never used to plaster the walls. You can see here the wall is not plastered. It has been left exposed. They have not plastered the walls. That was not there amongst the Harappans. They should never plaster their walls. This is the remarkable town planning of the Harappans, right? Are they with me? That has been called English bond method, Karan. I really don't know why it is called English bond method. It's ironic. They should have called it as Indian bond method or Indus bond method, right? Are they with me? Angan, Hariom, you're right. Angan, central courtyard. But Angan would be more of the front of the house. No, घर के आंगन. Angan is generally in the front of the house. ये बीच में था. This is in the middle of the house, right? This is a central courtyard. Okay. Are you there with me? Can I move on? This is the remarkable town planning of the Harappans. Okay. So आंगन बीच में होता है. Okay, fine, Hariom. Lothal is the name of a site, Harappan city, Harappan site, where where the Harappans had built a dockyard, an artificial dockyard. We'll come to that, Hariom. Just hold on. Now let us come to the polity of the Harappans. All clear till here? All clear? All of you? Clear. Can I move on? Okay. Now, what was the political structure of the Harappans? What was the type of political arrangements the Harappans had? We don't know. Why do we not know that? Because the script remains undeciphered. We are not able to read the Harappan script. Once we are able to read the Harappan script, we will come to know more about this civilization, more aspects of this civilization. But since the script remains undeciphered, we have to use conjecture, intelligent guesswork, hypothesis. We have to hypothesize as to what could have been the political structure like. Now look here on your screen. D.D. Kosambi, one of the prominent historians, D.D. Kosambi, felt that the Harappans had a priestly rule. He says that it was ruled by priests. So, on what basis did D.D. Kosambi say this? Because in Mesopotamia, the king was a chief priest. In Mesopotamian civilization, the king was also the chief priest. And since these two civilizations had contacts, D.D. Kosambi felt that probably this was the case even in the Harappan civilization, where probably it was ruled by priests, he says. But R.S. Sharma rejects this opinion of D.D. Kosambi. R.S. Sharma felt that it was ruled by merchants because Harappans gave a lot of importance to trade and commerce, both internal trade and international trade. Since a lot of importance was given to internal and international trade by the Harappans, R.S. Sharma felt that it was ruled by merchants. Then we have this British historian called Gordon Childe. Gordon Childe says that there was a central government, there could have been state governments, and also municipal governments. There could have been a central government, state governments, and municipal governments also. So this is the opinion of Gordon Childe. And we have Stuart Pigott. Stuart Pigott, another historian, he says there were 3 to 4 kingdoms existing side by side, and probably Harappa and Mohenjo-daro were the principal capitals of these kingdoms. So there were 3 to 4 independent kingdoms existing side by side, and Harappa and Mohenjo-daro were the principal capitals of these kingdoms. So these are the various opinions given by various scholars, but the most acceptable opinion is given by A.L. Basham. A.L. Basham felt that it was a centralized administration. He says it was a centralized administration. The Harappan civilization was a centralized administration. And this opinion of A.L. Basham has been agreed by most of the historians. Now, um, on what basis does he say this? On the basis of uniformity seen in various aspects. In the uniformity seen in the construction of cities, in the design of cities, in the religious practices of the Harappans, in the script of the Harappans, weights and measures, religious practices. In all these things, we see uniformity. And A.L. Basham felt that there was some authority figure, somebody who was enforcing standardization, homogeneity, and therefore this opinion of A.L. Basham has been accepted by most of these scholars. So, most acceptable view: uniformity in grid pattern, that is the way they designed their cities, brick making, uniform size of bricks, 4:2:1 in ratio, weights and measures, religious practices, etc. So, there was some authority which was enforcing standardization, homogeneity, and this opinion of A.L. Basham has been accepted by most of the historians. Are you there with me? Clear? Hariom, I told you we agree with A.L. Basham. A.L. Basham's opinion has been accepted by most of the historians. Most acceptable view. Hariom, Hariom, Hariom. Are you clear, Hariom? Hariom? Okay, right. So this is the polity of the Harappans. Now let us come to the society. What could have been the societal composition of the Harappans? Now, an analysis of the skeletons, bones, etc., reveal that the Harappan society was a heterogeneous society. It was not homogeneous. It was a heterogeneous population consisting of four races: Mediterranean, Proto-Australoid, Mongoloid, and Alpinoid. These are the four races staying in the Harappan civilization: Mediterranean race, Proto-Australoid, Mongoloid, and Alpinoid. But then most of the skeletons at Mohenjo-daro were of the Mediterranean race. And on this basis, historians believe that probably it was the case in other Harappan cities also. Most of them probably belong to the Mediterranean race, right? But there was free racial mixture. There was free racial mixture amongst these four races. Regarding the language spoken by the Harappans, we don't know. Probably it was a Proto-Dravidian language. That is, it became one of the later day Dravidian languages. What language where they spoke, we don't know, but historians believe that they spoke a Proto-Dravidian language. That is, it became one of the later day Dravidian languages. So this is about the Harappan society. It was a heterogeneous population, four races: Mediterranean, Proto-Australoid, Mongoloid, Alpinoid. At Mohenjo-daro, the dominant race was Mediterranean race. So there was free racial mixture. Now, look here. It was not an egalitarian society. It was a class divided society. So it was not an egalitarian society. Egalitarian means not equal. People were not equal in the society. It was a class divided society. How do we know this? The citadel area, lower town. People in the citadel area were given protection, not people in the lower town. Similarly, we have single room tenements, one room houses, two-story buildings. So from that we come to know there was class division in the society. Now, John Marshall, based on the um religious pantheon of these people, religious practices of the people, felt that the society was matriarchal, or the society was might have been matriarchal. What is matriarchal? Mother is the head of the house. Okay, mother is the head of the house. Now, on what basis did John Marshall say that probably the society of the Harappans was matriarchal? You see, please understand this part. Please understand this part. Be alert. Now, you see, the Harappans used to worship a male god. We'll come to the religious practices of the Harappans in some time. Male god has been called Pashupati Mahadeva. So Harappans used to worship a male god who has been called Pashupati Mahadeva. John Marshall, who was the one who called this god as Pashupati Mahadeva. What the Harappans called him, we don't know. So they used to worship Pashupati Mahadeva and a female goddess who has been called Mother Goddess. Now, both the images of these gods have been found on seals. What's a seal? It's a clay tablet. Like you have your PC tablet, like that you have a clay tablet. It's made of clay. And on such clay tablets, we have found the figure of a male god and a female goddess. And what we notice is we find more Mother Goddess seals than Pashupati Mahadeva seals. We find more Mother Goddess seals when compared to Pashupati Mahadeva seals. And on that basis, John Marshall came to the conclusion that probably the Harappan society was matriarchal because religion always reflects society. Religion always reflects society. Let me give you an example. If I might ask you a question, in India, which is maximum found temples, mosques, churches, okay, or gurudwaras? So if I ask you a question, what is your answer? What is maximum found in India? Temples or mosques or churches or gurudwaras? Temples. Why? Jia, you're right. Aniket, all of you are right. Kola, it's a commonsensical question. So why are more temples found? Population, Hindu majority. Very good. So that's the answer I was looking for. So Hindu majority country, India, therefore more temples are found because Hindus go to temples and worship. Now, in the Harappan society, they used to worship a male god and a female goddess. And we have found more female goddess figurines. We have found more female goddess seals and female goddess figurines. On that basis, John Marshall says probably the society was matriarchal because religion always reflects society. Did you understand what I'm trying to convey to you? Religion always reflects society. Now, look here. Let me give another example. Observe the Hindu gods. You have Shiva with his family, Parvati, then Kartike or Muruga, and Ganesh. That is his family, happy family with their mounts, isn't it? Shiva has a bull, a dwarf bull. Durga, Parvati has a lioness. Ganesh has a mouse. Kartike or Muruga has a peacock. So that's their family, vehicles as well as family photo, happy family photo. Look at the other Hindu gods. Vishnu is there with Lakshmi and other gods. Now, how many of these Hindu gods have daughters? Almost all the Hindu gods have sons. Hardly any have daughters. Have you observed this? Yeah? Have you observed this? Hardly any of the Hindu gods have daughters. Almost all the Hindu gods, whoever have children, have sons. Why? Because the religion always reflects society. Those days, the society was patriarchal. So they have also shown the gods like that, as if they have sons and not daughters. Hardly any have daughters. So, on this basis, John Marshall came to the conclusion since more mother goddess figurines have been found when compared to Pashupati Mahadeva seals, probably the society was matriarchal because religion always reflects society. Okay, so this is what I've explained. And what could be the language of the Harappans? We don't know. Probably it was a Proto-Dravidian language. And it is believed that the Bruhais, we have a community called Bruhai. This is a fishing community. Fishing community of Pakistan. These people are considered to be the direct descendants of the Harappans. The Bruhais of Pakistan, a fishing community in Pakistan, are considered to be the direct descendants of the Harappans. Can I move on? Hello? Right. Okay, so we move on here. Let us talk about, thank you, Hari Om. So let us talk about the other aspects of Harappan civilization, economy. So we've discussed about the town planning of the Harappans. We've discussed about their probable political structure, society. Let us come to the economy part. Economy will be covering all these things: agriculture, small scale industries, trade and commerce, both internal and international trade. Now look at the Harappan agriculture. What was the agriculture like? So basically, this was a floodplain agriculture. Understand this? What is this floodplain agriculture? You see, every year the Indus River used to have floods. Indus River, you have floods in the Indus River, and from the upper courses, the river would bring huge amount of silt and disperse it on the lower courses. So you have the Indus flooding every year, and from the upper courses of the river, it will bring huge amount of silt and it will disperse it on the lower courses. Once the flood waters receded, once the river came to its normal flow, the Harappans used to make some cursory digging. So this is the river Indus, let us say. So they will take the help of some. They'll take a hoe or a digging stick. Hoe is a digging stick. They'll take a hoe or a digging stick and they'll make some cursory digging. And then they'll sprinkle seeds. They'll sprinkle seeds and they used to grow two crops in a year: a winter crop where they used to grow wheat and barley, and a summer crop where they used to grow cotton, mustard, peas, sesame, etc. So, did the Harappans know about the plow? The answer is yes. Did they know about the plow? The answer is yes. They knew about the plow because in the pre-Harappan levels at Kalibangan, we have the Harappans using plow in the pre-Harappan levels at Kalibangan. But why didn't they not use the plow then? Because it was not necessary to use the plow. Already the soil was fertile, it was loose, so a digging stick would do the job. So they will make some cursory digging, sprinkle seeds, and they used to grow two crops in a year: a winter crop and a summer crop. So what are the various crops grown by the Harappans on your screen? So this was a floodplain agriculture, as you can see on your screen, right? This is called floodplain agriculture. They used a hoe. From Kalibangan, we have evidence of a wooden plowshare. This is the picture of a wooden plowshare. You can see this is a plowshare. So the Harappans knew about the wooden plowshare, but did not use it. It was not necessary to use the plowshare. They used to grow two crops in a year. So winter crop, wheat and barley, summer crop, cotton. So Harappans were one of the earliest to produce cotton, mustard, sesame, jowar, peas, etc. So when Alexander and his men came into India, when did Alexander come? Greeks, 326 BC. 326 BC, Alexander came into India. The Greeks saw a lot of cotton crop in Sindh, in the region of Sindh, yellow color cotton crop. And they called cotton as Sindan, native to the region of Sindh. They called cotton as Sindan, the Greeks. Okay. Then we have the evidence of a piece of cotton cloth from Mohenjo-daro. You can see here, this is a piece of cotton cloth which comes from Mohenjo-daro. And such cotton has been found in Mesopotamia. Harappan cotton has been exported to Mesopotamia. And in some of the Mesopotamian sites, we find cotton cloth. So evidence of cotton cloth comes from Mohenjo-daro. We have fruits and vegetables found. Fruits like dates, grapes, banana, melon, etc., vegetables. Sugarcane was unknown. So till now, we don't have any evidence of the Harappans having cultivated sugarcane. So we don't have evidence as of that. Then among the animals domesticated, normal animals, cow, sheep, goat, pigs, and of course elephants, which was very rare. No, Mesopotamians had no knowledge of elephants. Mesopotamians had not tamed the elephant, whereas Harappans had tamed the elephant. Okay, of course, camel. Then we have animal skeletons. We have found all these animal skeletons pertaining to the Harappan civilization. Camel skeleton comes from Kalibangan. Kalibangan is in Rajasthan. So Kalibangan is a site in Rajasthan. So camel skeleton comes from there. Elephant from the Gujarat region. Rhino from Amri. Horse from Surkotada. Cat from Chanhudaro. Chanhudaro. So these are the various animal skeletons found in all these Harappan sites, and we can presume the ecology or environment of that place. What could have been the environment for these animals to survive and thrive? The environment should be supporting them, isn't it? So we can reconstruct the environment or ecology of that place from the remains of flora and fauna, whatever plants and animals have been discovered in the excavations, right? So environment and ecology can be presumed. Now you can see here a piece of the shell of a tortoise. So Harappans from this comes from this site called 4 MSR site. This has been called 4 MSR site in Binjo, Rajasthan, and two such shells have been found with charred bones, indicating that Harappans consumed tortoise meat. So they used to consume tortoise meat. So, so this is charred. This is the two such tortoise shells have been found here. Two such have been found. Then small scale industries. There was specialization in crafts. There was specialization in crafts. Harappans used to engage in a number of small scale and cottage industries. Small scale and cottage industries like what? Like for example, shell and bead industries. Seashells. Shell is seashells. Seashells. Beads. These two come from Lothal and Chanudaro. Shell and bead industries come from there. Carpentry, brick making, shipbuilding, then metallurgy, gold, silver, copper, bronze, but not iron. Harappans had no knowledge of iron. So they had no knowledge of iron and no knowledge of silk also. As regards textiles, they knew cotton and wool, but not silk. So they engage in a number of small scale and cottage industries, shell making, shell and bead industries, shipbuilding, carpentry, brick making, gold, silver, copper, bronze, right? And of course, they had no knowledge of iron and textile industry, cotton and wool, but not silk. Are you there with me, all of you? Nikhil, what is the basis to consider the language Proto-Dravidian? This is what the historians say, that one of probably they spoke up. This was the hypothesis given by many of the historians, that probably they spoke a Proto-Dravidian language. That is, whatever language they spoke became one of the Dravidian languages. That's what has been told by historians, right? Um, Now, one more thing I forgot to mention. We'll come back here. See, I spoke about the town planning of the Harappans. We saw that all the public buildings are found in the western part of the city, isn't it? All the public buildings are found in the western part of the city, like the Great Bath at Mohenjo-daro, the Great Granary at Mohenjo-daro, rectangular building, oblong multi-pillared assembly hall, which probably served administrative purposes. I've told you all these things. Even now, public buildings are found at a height. If you look at New Delhi, so if you look at New Delhi, we have the Raisina Hill. You see, we have the Raisina Hill, uh, uh, Raisina Hill. So where the Rashtrapati Bhavan was built by the British, Edwin Lutyens and Edward Lake. What was that person's name? Um, Lutyens Delhi, Edwin Lutyens, and I forget one more person's name. So these two people, they designed New Delhi, and there was a forest, I believe, where it is now called Raisina Hill. There was a forest, so they cut down major parts of the forest, and this was at a height. It was on a hill. That's why it's called Raisina Hill. And there they built the Viceregal Lodge, which is now called Rashtrapati Bhavan. And then around that you have the Parliament House, North Block, South Block, etc. Similarly, so this has been built at a height. It stands off from other buildings in the capital city of Delhi, and they look different, isn't it? So similarly, even nowadays, the seat of the government power, whichever capital you come from, whichever state you come from, you look at the central secretariat, where the government functions from, or the Raj Bhavan, the governor's residence. They have been built in a particular manner. For example, Chennai, you have the Fort St. George, where you have the secretariat of Tamil Nadu functioning from. It looks different from the other buildings. So this design element is even now copied by by us even now, for that matter. So all the public buildings, important structures are built to mark it off as a different sort of a building design from the other buildings in the area, and it has been built at a height. So you can mention that also in your answer as such. Beads, beads are um, bead making. How to explain beads? Shells is shell is seashells, right? Shell is seashells, and beads. Beads are money, as you call it, money beads. Beads of carnelian. You have small beads with a hole. Small beads. So these are made of carnelian, a type of stone called carnelian. So this is the carnelian beads with holes, small, round, something like a ball with a hole, where you have a bead of you have a pearl necklace, that has got round beads, isn't it? Pearl beads. Like that, you have different beads made of different materials, mostly carnelian. Carnelian. Okay, right. Um, so let us come to other aspects of their civilization. Um, See, Nikhil, what is the basis to consider the language Proto-Dravidian? This is based on many aspects of their culture, Nikhil. For example, you see, among the Aryans who came later, the Vedic period, authors of the Vedic period are the Aryans. And the Aryans were nature worshippers. They used to worship nature. They did not understand why there was a sun in the sky, why there was a moon in the sky, why there was thunder, lightning, rain, etc. So they gave them names: Surya, Chandra, Agni, Vayu, Varuna, Akasha, Prithvi, etc. And they composed hymns or shlokas in praise of these gods, natural forces, and they worshipped them. Whereas the Harappans used not worship nature. They used to worship Pashupati Mahadeva, male god. We'll come to that in some time. A female goddess who has been called Mother Goddess. They used to worship snakes, like snake cult come from Gumla. They used to worship trees like people tree. Like then they used to worship male and female sexual organs. Male organ has been called linga, shaped like a male sexual organ. Female sexual organ has been called yoni. Then they used to worship animals like the bull and the unicorn, right? So among the burial practices of the Harappans, they used to mostly dispose of their body by burying them in the grave. Complete burial, it is called. Whereas the Aryans used to burn their dead bodies. So here, these practices are more akin to South India. Many of the cultural practices of the Harappans are more akin to South India than North India, right? Aryan culture, Aryans introduced their own culture, right? They brought that culture from outside India. It is presumed by historians. So on that basis, since many of the practices are followed even now by the South, in the South, by the people of South India, the language spoken by the Harappans is supposedly more akin to Proto-Dravidian. Probably it became more one of the Dravidian languages. That's how, on that basis, it is said. You understand? We'll come back here. Did you understand what Nikhil, right? So we'll come back here. Let us look at the trade and commerce. Nikhil, am I able to answer your question? Did you understand what I'm saying? Okay, okay. Now look at here. Let us look at the trade and commerce of the Harappans. So the Harappans traded extensively within the Indus zone, 1.3 million square kilometers. Within this huge Indus zone, they traded extensively with present-day regions of Maharashtra, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Saurashtra, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Western UP, right? All these areas, Bihar, and parts of South India. So they trade extensively with all these regions. Rajasthan, what we now call Rajasthan, Saurashtra, Maharashtra, South India, parts of Western UP and Bihar. They also traded with the Neolithic cultures of Kashmir and South India. So we have Neolithic cultures. I told you some people were still backward. technologically. So we have the Neolithic cultures existing in parts of Kashmir and South India. The Harappans also traded with these Neolithic people. Some people were still backward, like the Chalcolithic cultures. They were slightly ahead in the when compared to the Neolithic cultures. The Ahar culture of Rajasthan, the Ahar culture of Rajasthan, the Chalcolithic Ahar culture. So the Harappans traded with all these people, the Neolithic people of Kashmir and South India, the Chalcolithic Ahar culture. So within the Indus zone, they traded extensively. And we have evidence of the Harappans also trading internationally with Mesopotamia or Sumeria and Bahrain. So they traded also internationally with Mesopotamia or Sumeria and Bahrain. So what do we know about this? How do we know that the Harappans traded extensively with these civilizations of Mesopotamia and Bahrain? Look here, we have archaeology and literary evidence which support this trade context between the Harappans and the Mesopotamians and Bahrain. Now, let us look at the archaeological evidence first and then the literary evidence. First of all, archaeological evidence. We have Indus cotton bales. What are bales? Bundles of cotton. Bundles of cotton have been found in some of the Mesopotamian cities. These are cotton from the Harappan zone, Harappan civilization. So Harappans used to export cotton and cotton textiles abroad to Mesopotamia, and Harappan cotton has been found in the Sumerian city of Umma. So just as Harappan cities have been named Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Lothal, Chanhodaro, Kalibangan, etc., we have in the Mesopotamian civilization cities which have been named Umma, Susa, Ur, Kish, Tel Asmar, etc. So in some of the Mesopotamian cities like Umma, we have found cotton bundles native to the Harappan zone, Harappan cultural zone. Similarly, we have found Indus seals. We'll come to seals in some time. That is clay tablets. Indus seals have been found in some of the Mesopotamian cities like Susa, Ur, Kish, Tel Asmar. Similarly, Mesopotamian seals have been found in some of the Indus cities like Mohenjo-daro, cylindrical seals of Mesopotamia. They are in the shape of a cylinder. And Mesopotamian seals have been found from Mohenjo-daro, Persian Gulf seal and coarse grey pottery from Lothal. Persian Gulf seal and coarse grey pottery. This pottery has been painted grey color. So Persian Gulf seal, coarse grey pottery has been found from Lothal. So this is the archaeological evidence we have as regards trade between the Harappans and the people of Mesopotamia, the Mesopotamian civilization. And please understand, even Indus cotton and Harappan seals have been found in Bahrain. We'll come to that in some time. Just hold on. This is the archaeological evidence we have. We also have literary evidence. Literary evidence as regards trade between the Harappans and the Mesopotamians. So, what is the literary evidence we have? Look here on your screen. So there was one king of Mesopotamia. So what you see, Mesopotamian script has been deciphered. Mesopotamian script has been deciphered. It has been called cuneiform. Cuneiform. This is the name of the script. Cuneiform script, right? And cuneiform script has been decoded or deciphered. So when we read the Mesopotamian script, at one place we come across a king called King Sargon of Akkad. So King Sargon, his name was Sargon, and he ruled a kingdom called Akkad. And this script has been dated 2300 BC. This belongs to the period of 2300 BC. So when we read the script of King Sargon of Akkad, which is in the cuneiform, which is the cuneiform script, we come across three places: Meluha, Meluha, then Dilman, and Makan. Meluha, Dilman, and Makan. Meluha has been identified with the Indus region. Meluha has been identified with the Indus region. Dilman with Bahrain, and Makan with the Makran coast. Okay, so in the cuneiform records of King Sargon of Akkad, dated 2300 BC, we have references to three places: Meluha, Dilman, and Makan. Meluha has been identified with the Indus region, Dilman with Bahrain, and Makan with the Makran coast. Now let us understand this part. Look here on your screen. We have a map here. On your screen, you see a map. This is a modern map with old names. This is a modern map with old names. You see, we have a port in Gujarat. Okay, Harappans had a port in Gujarat, right? So this port is called Lothal. So this site is called Lothal, and there was a dockyard built by the Harappans. There was a dockyard built by the Harappans at Lothal. So we have ships going. So imagine there's a ship, right? The ship. So you have ships going like this from Lothal to Mesopotamia. And similarly, from Mesopotamia, ships used to come to Lothal. So imagine a ship has started off from the Meluha region. So this is the name given to the Indus region. Historians say Meluha is nothing but the Indus region. And the Mesopotamians used to call the Indus region as Meluha. So we have ships going from Meluha all the way to Makkan. Makkan is the Makran coast. So they will have their first stop here. Okay, then they will do loading, unloading, take some rest there. And from Makkan or Makran coast, they will carry on their journey and they'll reach Dilman. Dilman is identified with Bahrain. And we have found Indus cotton and Indus seals, not only at Makkan, but also in Dilman. And from Dilman, they will carry on their journey to Sumeria, that is Mesopotamia. Similarly, we have ships coming from Mesopotamia towards the Indus region, towards Meluha. They will take the same route. They'll come to Dilman. They will stop over at Dilman for some time, and from Dilman they'll go to Makkan, and from Makkan they'll go to Meluha. So this is the literary evidence as regards trade between these two civilizations. Did you understand? Hello, all of you. Please raise your hands if you have understood. Clear? Kola, repeat once. I will repeat. Kola, just hold on. Most of you are clear? Okay. Hari Om, I'll repeat. Don't worry. So one is the archaeological evidence. Archaeological evidence, you are clear? So we have found Indus cotton, Indus seals in some of the Mesopotamian cities. Similarly, Mesopotamian pottery, Mesopotamian seals have been found in the Indus cities. So that is clear, I suppose. Now, what about the literary evidence? You see, I told you the script of the Mesopotamians is called cuneiform, right? So, in the cuneiform records of King Sargon of Akkad, there was a king called Sargon who ruled over Akkad. That was the name of the kingdom. This was the name of the kingdom ruled by King Sargon. And these cuneiform records are dated 2300 BC. So it belongs to that period, 2300 BC. So we have the names of three places: Meluha, Dilman, and Makkan. Meluha has been identified with the Indus region. So Mesopotamians used to call the Indus region as Meluha. Okay, Dilman has been identified with Bahrain in the Persian Gulf, and Makkan has been identified with Makran coast. As I told you on your screen, if you see, ships will go from Lothal in Meluha or Indus region. So Indus region was called Meluha by the Mesopotamians. So they should trade with Meluha. And what was the route taken by the ships from Meluha, that is Gujarat? They will travel all the way to Makran coast. Okay, and from Makran coast, the ships will go to Dilman. That was the second stopover. And from Dilman, they'll go to Sumeria, that is Mesopotamia. Similarly, the ships will take this route while coming towards Meluha. They will stop over at Dilman, first stop. Second stop would be Makkan, and the third stop would be Meluha. This was a route taken by the ships, and these are the names identified by the historians. Meluha was the name given to the Indus region by the Mesopotamians. Dilman was nothing but Bahrain to the Mesopotamians, and Makkan has been identified with the Makran coast. Are you there with me? Are you clear? Kola and Hariom. Okay. What about Kola? Okay, thank you. Now look at the various imports and exports of the Harappans. Just have a general idea. You don't need to remember each and everything. Various items they imported from various parts of India and outside. They imported all these items, the Harappans. Look here on your screen, gold. Gold came from Afghanistan, Persia, that is Iran, South India, probably from the KGF, Kolar Gold Fields. So there's a place called Kolar in Karnataka, and we have gold fields there, KGF, Kolar Gold Fields. Of course, no gold is now available there. Everything has been extracted. So probably they used to procure their gold from South India, that is the Kolar gold fields. Silver came from Afghanistan and Iran, Persia. Copper from Balochistan and the K3 mines of Rajasthan. Tin from Afghanistan, Bihar, Central Asia. Steatite from Afghanistan, Iran. Agate, chalcedony, lead, lapis lazuli from Badakhshan in northern Afghanistan. Turquoise from Iran, Kashmir. Amethyst from Maharashtra, jade from Central Asia and Tibet, carnelian and shells from Saurashtra. So the Harappans imported huge amount of goods, materials from various parts of India and outside, right? And similarly, what are the exports of the Harappans? Cotton fiber, that is raw cotton or cotton fiber. They used to export that, cotton textiles, food grains, ivory objects, made of elephant ivory, ivory objects, and of course shell and bead ornaments. These are all the various exports of the Harappans. So transport, we have evidence from seals and terracotta models. What are terracotta models? Clay models. And probably they served as toys of the Harappan children. So evidence comes from seals and terracotta models, terracotta models, clay models. So overland overland transport was through bullock carts and pack oxen. Okay, bullock carts and pack oxen, and sea and river transport was with help of boats and ships. As you can see here, we have found a bullock cart, the model of a bullock cart. And if you look at this bullock cart, we see that the Harappans they were not using spoked bullock carts. You see here on your screen, this is a solid wheel. This is a solid wheel with no spokes. So probably they had no knowledge of spoked wheels. They only use solid wheels. So they might have used such bullock carts to transport goods and people. So overland transport through bullock carts and pack oxen, and river and sea transport through boats. You can see clay models of boats have been found from Lothal. This is the clay model of boats from Lothal. Okay, you can see here there's a sail, there's a person rowing the boat, and also there's a sail. And they might have used large boats like this. You can see the sails here, big sails. So they might have used large boats like this for trade with Mesopotamia. So industrial boat has been found from Harappa on a piece of seal, right? So weights and measures. What was the type of weights and measures used by the Harappans? Now, weights and measures were used for both building and commercial purposes. They used to use weights for both building and commercial purposes. Trade, commercial is trade, as you know, so trade purposes and also for building purposes. Weights proceeded in a series 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 64, like that. So it proceeded in a series 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 64, and then decimal multiples of 16. And sticks with measure marks have been found. Sticks with measure marks like this, measuring sticks have been found with measure marks like this. So, and measures of length were based upon a foot. This was a calculation, 37.6 centimeters, and a cubit of from 50.8 to 53.6 centimeters. So Harappans used to use different types of weights and measures for both building and commercial purposes, right? So they might have used a plumb bob. You must have seen this is called a plumb bob. So nowadays, even masons, when they build a wall, they will use something like this to get the 90-degree angle of walls, right? So they must have used a plumb bob. This is called a plumb bob. Okay. Then we move on. Religion of the Harappans. So religion of the Harappans, you can see on your screen. The Harappans used to worship a male god. You can see on your screen. This is a piece of seal. This is a seal. So on a seal found at Mohenjo-daro, so this has been a seal found at Mohenjo-daro, we have the figure of a deity. We have the figure of a god. So, and this god is sitting cross-legged in a Padmasana posture. So you can see here he is in a Padmasana posture. Padmasana. Padmasana posture. Right? So we can trace the earliest evidence of yoga from here. Padmasana posture. And we see that this particular god has three faces. How do we know he has three faces? He has three noses. You see, there's one nose here, another nose here, and third nose here. So he has three faces. Right. So this is a three-faced god. He is wearing a crown-like appendage. So he's wearing a crown with two horns. So there are two horns here. So he's wearing a crown with two horns. And then some animals are seen around him. Look at the animals on your screen. This is an elephant. This is an elephant. This is a tiger. Okay. Then this is a rhino. And this is a buffalo. Did you get me? On your screen. You see? We see him sitting on a low throne, on a low sihasan, in a Padmasana posture. So he's in a Padmasana posture, lotus postures, Padmasana. On a low throne, he's sitting. He's got three faces and two horns. Three faces, two horns. And then an elephant, a tiger, a rhino, and a buffalo, a water buffalo, are standing beside him, and two deer appear at his feet. Two deer appear at his feet. Something has been written here. We don't know what has been written. Looking at this, John Marshall called this particular god as Pashupati Mahadeva. So this was the name given by John Marshall to this particular god. He called him Pashupati Mahadeva, or Lord of Animals. Lord of Animals. So please remember the names of these animals, right? The animals surrounding Pashupati Mahadeva. Elephant, tiger, rhino, buffalo, and two deer. Make a story, weave a story. There was an elephant which was attacked by a rhino, but the elephant came to rescue the buffalo, but then a tiger jumped on the buffalo and killed it. Okay, and two deer were mute spectators. Something like that. You make a story, so that way you'll remember easily, right? Um, so here you have look at this, and so look at the um, animals. So Pashupati Mahadeva for seal. Where is it found? Mohenjo-daro, right? Elephant, tiger, rhino, buffalo. Harsha, it's not Lord Brahma. Don't use your brain. This is a god with three faces. Brahma has four faces, Harsha. Okay, so don't get confused. Hmm? Only three faces he's got. So neither is he Dattatreya. Dattatreya has three faces, but this is Pashupati Mahadeva according to John Marshall. And these are the animals surrounding this particular god. And two deer appear below. And so he's got three faces, a crown with two horns, and John Marshall called him Proto Shiva. See, whatever is told by historians, I'm telling you. Don't ask me how many extra face. Where did you get a fourth face from, Nikhil? Let us stick to what is given told by historians. You have never seen the Pashupati Mahadeva seal. Neither I have seen it. I've only seen it in the books and on the computer. So let us not use our brains. Let us stick to what historians have told us. Okay. So this is the Pashupati Mahadeva seal. Who called him Pashupati Mahadeva? John Marshall. And he is called Proto Shiva. Right? Then we have another seal. Look here on your screen. We have on another seal found again from Mohenjo-daro. We have the figure of a female. Look here, this is a piece of a seal. This comes from Mohenjo-daro. Mohenjo-daro. We have the figure of a female. Look here, she has her head down. And two of her, these are, okay, this is her. So she is in a Shirshasana posture. And between her legs, through her vagina, through her private part, a plant is seen growing. Okay, looking at this, historians believe that this was the mother goddess. They used to personify the mother earth, personify mother earth. So where do we get food from? From the mother earth, personify mother earth. So Harappans used to worship mother goddess. They used to worship the earth, and uh, and they have depicted mother earth like this. So she has been called mother goddess by historians, mother goddess. And this seal has been found at Mohenjo-daro, where we have a female with her head down and two of her legs pointing towards the sky. So she is in a Shirshasan posture. Shirsh, Shirshasan. Shirshasan. Posture. Okay. And unfortunately, I did not find the picture of this particular mother goddess in this particular posture on the website. So I could not put the picture. But in the textbook, it gives explanations, right? So this is called Mother Goddess seal, found from Mohenjo-daro. Mother Goddess seal. This is called Mother Goddess seal, and this seal has been again found at Mohenjo-daro. So as Harappans used to. So where do we get plants from? From the Mother Earth. So Harappans used to worship the Mother Earth, and probably they had given a form to Mother Earth like this, where she has her head down and between her legs, through her womb, there is a plant seen growing. So Mother Goddess seal has been found from Mohenjo-daro, right? We also have Mother Goddess like this. You see on your screen, these are all the models of Mother Goddess. So other models of Mother Goddess has been found here. You can see here she's wearing a double necklace here. More than two, three necklaces she's wearing. She's wearing a crown. She's got a girdle around her hips. She's wearing a belt sort of a thing, double necklace. So this is the figure of Mother Goddess also. So Mother Goddess was also worshipped like this, right? Then we have Harappans worshipping the phallus, the male sexual organ. Male sexual organ has been called phallus or linga, and female sexual organ has been called yoni or ringstone. You can see here on your screen. This is the male sexual organ, linga. So Harappans used to worship the male sexual organ, linga, and female sexual organ like this, like in the shape of a ringstone. So when male and female energies come together, new life happens on this earth. We have all been born like that. So Harappans used to worship the male sexual organ and the female sexual organ. Then uh, we have found fire altars. Fire altars are Yagna Kund, Homa Kund at Harappa, Lothal and Kalibangan. So in these places, you can see here fire altars, Yagna Kund, Homa Kund. So here we have found fire altars in these three places, Harappa, Lothal and Kalibangan. So they used to worship fire. Then we have found evidence of tree worship. Like, for example, people tree was worshipped by the Harappans. Animals like bull and unicorn. What's a bull or unicorn? Just hold on. I'll give you a break. Just a moment. Let me finish this. This is a unicorn. What's a unicorn? It's a bull. How do we know this? It's a humpless bull. You see, generally a bull has a hump behind its neck, but this is a humpless bull. It doesn't have a hump behind its neck. How do we know that it's a bull? You can see its organ here. It's private part. So there's a bull. It's a humpless bull, but this bull is shown with only one horn. Why is it shown with only one horn? Because it is in a sideways profile. It is standing sideways. So if the bull was facing us, two of its horns would have been seen, right? But since it is standing sideways, only one horn is seen. The other horn has got superimposed on the one which is facing us. And in front of this bull, you can see a agarbatti stand. This is called a standard manger or a agarbatti stand. So this was the animal most frequently depicted on Harappan seals. So Harappans used to worship the bull and the unicorn. Unicorn is a humpless bull with only one horn seen. Okay, so they have to worship bulls and unicorns. Even now, we worship bulls during festivals like Pongal, Bihu, Shankranti, etc. Amulets are seen. Amulets is taita, that is, what you call taviz, taviz. So among all religions, even Hindu, Christians, Muslims wear taviz or taita or amulet as it is called in English. So they believed in ghosts and evil spirits. So we have evidence of amulets. You can see here, this is an amulet. And even now we wear these such amulets, okay, Hanuman locket and all those things. So they believed in ghosts and evil spirits. That suggests that Harappans believed in ghosts and evil spirits. No temple-like structure has been found in any of the Harappan cities. So this is the religion of the Harappans. And please understand, whatever the Harappans used to do, even now we continue to do. We worship Shiva in the form of Linga. We worship Mother Goddess in various other forms, Durga, Kali, Lakshmi, etc. We worship trees like the people tree, and we see women, they tie threads around the trees. They, they ask for vows. They take vows before a tree. So this is the tree worship is there. Snake cult. I forgot to mention. Snake cult comes from Gumla. Snake worship. Evidence of snake worship comes from Gumla. So even now we worship snakes among the Hindus. The people have Naga Panchami, okay, Naga Dosh, all those things are there. So Naga worship is there. Then fire altars, fire is worshipped, right? We have Yagna Kund, Homa Kund, even now that is there. So Harappans probably used to make animal sacrifices in these fire altars. We don't know, but probably they might have made. So then animals are worshipped, like the bulls. Bull is considered to be the vehicle of Lord Shiva even now, right? And bulls are worshipped. Even in Jains, bulls are worshipped. Unicorn, humpless bull is there, of course. And of course, amulets, we believe in ghosts and evil spirits. So whatever the Harappans used to do, we even now continue to do. This is the religion of the Harappans. Are you there with me, all of you? Are you clear? Can I take a break? Can we take a half an hour break and come back? All clear? All clear? Okay. So we meet at 5:30, 5:30, 5:31. Yes, sir. Okay. Carry on. Half an hour break and we'll come back. And we'll continue and finish this chapter and go to the next chapter, Vedic period. So I stop here. We'll meet at 5:30 sharp.